Hello.
We're back.
We're back. Sorry for the lack of video. We don't have an intro video for this one.
Well, I did offer. I offered.
Well, we put you on full screen and you can do your little dance.
Better not, because I'm not wearing anything bottom half. I only put a jumper on for the occasion. No, not really.
Typical Zoom chat there.
Well, for next time we'll get. Yeah, that was quite a good thing last year. Well,
last year.
year.
Show us there. You just started to move your camera.
Check it out. I'm confusing my video chat sideline.
Oh me. We've missed
yeah, welcome back, everyone. Happy New Year.
Hello. Happy New Year. Have I seen you? I don't think I've seen you this year, have
I? No, you haven't. So yeah, Happy New Year too, actually. Yeah.
Oh. Are you going to say Happy New Year? Say Happy New Year.
Hello, Happy New Year, Killian. Is that dinosaurs?
It is, yes. No, yeah, kind of. They're like half dinosaur, half bugs.
Dinosaurs.
It's just dinosaurs. You don't know your extinct species. Hello.
What whiskey are you going to pick?
Ace.
All of them.
Are you going to go and go to bed? It's bedtime.
Say night night.
Say night night. Don't push buttons.
Focus.
First Killian of the new year.
First killing of the new year, yeah. With a cushion.
Yes.
Sorry about that, guys. I'm sure you all loved having a wee Killian on screen there. God, it feels like we haven't done this in ages.
I know, it's like when you go back to work for the first time and you just forget how to function. You're like, what do I actually do? But yeah, no, we'll get back in the swing of it. And we've got everybody in the chat, which is nice to see.
We've got lots of chat going on. Good evening, Dave. He's got the infrequent flyers. Milton Duff, 11-year-old Oloroso Punchin. And his hand from Alistair Walker. That's pretty cool. I'm pretty sure that's a solid dram. Ali does do quite a lot of good stuff, doesn't he? Ed is, sorry?
He's got some Christmas cake with it as well.
Oh, nice. Makes it maybe some Diet Coke as well. Diet Pepsi to go with that.
Yum.
Who else have we got? Ed Friday is tempted to compare the Duncan Taylor Octave of Holyrood and so the Inverurie and the Huntley octaves. Well, that's what I'm going to be pouring first tonight. Is our exclusive octave, which is 3 years old, 3 months in sherry octave.
Awesome.
So that is in my glass. What's in your glass? Well,
in honor of our guest, I thought I'd go with one of her brands. We've got a Chivas Regal.
Oh, Chivas.
And
nice.
It's in a Mizunara cask. I never know if I'm saying it right. Mizunara?
Mizunara. I think it's Mizunara. Yeah.
Yeah, bring together the Japanese and the Scottish, I guess. We'll give that a go. And it's in a really cool box. I like it.
Love a box.
I do. Well, I was waiting for a good reason to open it. I thought, well, that's as good a reason as any. So that's what I'm going for tonight. I didn't open it off screen. I made the fatal error. So I'm just going to quietly do it while you guys are chatting. I'm going to wait till the guest is
we'll ask you in about an hour what that tastes like. I've actually had that. I've got it. I'm sure I've still got some left downstairs. Nice. It's nice. Kind of soft and sweet, if I remember right. Who else have we got just before we bring Karen in? We've got Dutch Dura. He's on a Karen Head Tea Ninich in his glass. Tea Ninich, one of those kind of a great indie bottle. It's not one you see very often, but always good enough.
The distillery that I cannot ever get right trying to pronounce it. There's just it just gets stuck in the middle somewhere. Tea Ninich. Yeah. Tea Ninich. Maybe I just overthink it. Tea Ninich.
Yeah. If you say it that often back to back, then it's going to sound wrong.
Yeah.
Who else? We've got Peahead. Good evening, Frank. Nice to have you along. Dave Muir watching on Facebook. Evening, Dave. Great to have you as well. And Tim Powell's is commenting there. Evening, Tim and the Blether. Let us know what's in your glasses, guys. We always love to hear what you're enjoying while listening to us, or what you need to drink to survive listening to us blethering on for the next hour or so. We're going to bring in our guest now, Karen. Hopefully she has her dram in hand. There we go. Good evening.
Hello.
Right on.
Hello. How are we?
Good. All the better for having you on. First guest of the year.
Oh, well, hopefully the best of the year.
Yeah, maybe we've peaked early already.
I know, right?
You know what? I had to walk home tonight because I left my van at the pub last night and completely forgot to take my keys with me, because normally if I'm out in the pool on the Wednesday night, I'll leave the van, I'll get a taxi, or I'll walk home, and then I'll walk up from the shop the next day. But new pair of trousers on, left the keys, and I said to walk home. And while I was walking home, this dread thought came to me of, I'm going to be hit with double Doric tonight. And you know, when you speak to somebody, sometimes your accent comes through and you start speaking Doric, like without realizing that you do it. And I do quite well when it's just Kat chatting, but with even the two of you, and I'm going to try and avoid it. But if anyone sees me slinking into Doric, which I inevitably will, especially after a dram, I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun.
Have you ever watched back to Alan Finlay? Alan Finlay.
Yeah, that kind of.
Yeah. And you can just see us gradually going more and more chuchter the further along we go. We just and by the end we're all just like, aye, well, Mickey, aye, fairly.
You can't help it, flipping all, and you just fall through. You just speak so. He's broader than me, which is wonderful.
He's got a lovely crazy accent, though. He's great to speak to.
He's such a nice guy, Alan. He's a topper. I think he's getting on quite well at his new distillery by the looks of things as well. Yeah,
they're going to be distilling this year, aren't they?
That's the plan, I think. I keep in touch with him just to see what's going on, so it's quite interesting. Hopefully get a wee tour of that one. That would be quite good.
Yeah, there's quite a bit to be done to make it safe, I think, for people, even visitors. I think they've been told strictly no visitors until kind of X, Y, and Z has happened. So there's even a friends and family kind of tour going on yet, but. Who have got Jeremy's on. Jeremy Watt is saying good evening. Name other loon. So even reading it out, I could feel myself going in. Jeremy was in Scotland. Was it between Christmas and New Year, or was it just before Christmas?
It was just before New Year, wasn't it? Because I missed you, Jeremy. I'm sorry about that.
She'll get you the next time. Jeremy's kindly left you some drams.
I know.
Just sitting next to your Secret Santa, which you've never come in and collected.
Well, I came for it and it wasn't there when I was there. But I will come again. Well, we'll see you guys next week anyway, so
you will
throw it to us for me.
Absolutely. Oh, we can do that, yeah. Never even thought about that. Ryan is on. Happy New Year, Ryan. I hope you're well. Karen, what's in your glass? Did we ask? I didn't ask you that, did we? No.
Well, it's a surprise. It's nothing to do with Billy Walker. I'm actually drinking a Milton Duff.
Oh, nice.
15 years old Milton Duff that I got for a Christmas present. So it's drinkable. You didn't need Pepsi. It's good. It works really well on its own. No ice or nothing. It's really good.
Have you got a slice of Christmas cake with it?
I put some lemon and lime in it. It's really quite nice.
Oh.
But I couldn't have said well. Like you earlier, Kat, I needed an excuse to open this. This is one of the earlier editions. This is batch 3 of the 10-year-old, and I've had it for ages. But I thought, what a good excuse to open it tonight and get a good few drams out with it. So there we go.
Awesome.
I took example for you and get open it tonight.
Oh, I love that. See, I like that the Blether is a nice reason for people to open up bottles as well. We noticed that in the chat that people kind of open up something a bit different because and they all start kind of chatting about what they've got. It's nice to have an excuse. You don't need an excuse, but it's nice to have a reason to open it.
It's a good reason.
It's because Milton Duff. That's a Chivas, isn't it? That's under.
We ended up getting a really nice hamper at Christmas time through them, so we got a bottle of that, and there was a single cask Scapa, a couple of nice bottles of wine, which was really quite generous. We weren't expecting anything, especially us just being seasonal, but we ended up getting quite lucky and got a wee hamper. So besides that, in about a bottle of the Scapa, there's nothing left. It's gone. The evaporation rate in Keith's horrendous. It's really
quite hot, isn't it? Tropical.
Oh, it is just freezing. So no, it's good. So it's a nice change with Dram. It's quite sweet. There's a lot of vanilla influence in it as well, which is nice because I'm normally quite a sherry head, but it's came through quite good. And it's unlike me because it's only at 40%, and I never normally drink anything less than 46, 48% or cask strength. So to enjoy it, it's quite nice. It's quite good. It'd be a wee bit dangerous though. I think you could drink far too many. It's a bit... Then the proper Doric will come out. Then you're stuck, Mike. You've had it.
I've got nothing against speaking Doric. It's just I'm worried. I'm fearful for the YouTube subtitles.
I was thinking that add a subtitle button at the bottom so we can all press it. It'll be quite funny, just to see if it can recognise what we're actually saying.
No chance.
You know, it doesn't get most English words, let alone Doric words. My favourite one was. Oh, it was Oloroso. It always came out as "Hola, Russell," and that was when Russell was doing the chat.
My favourite one was when Ewan was on. He was at the Dornoch distillery at the time, and the amount of translations of Dornoch.
Oh, that's right.
You would think he worked at like 20 different distilleries. Mark Stephen is on. Good evening, Mark. Nice to have you on Facebook. He says, "Evening, ladies and Mike. Nice to know that there's a difference there between me and you guys." We kind of ask. It's kind of we're in unfamiliar territory because you're kind of as a friend as well as kind of whiskey legend. We just kind of got straight into Blether and as if we've been here forever. But there's maybe some guys at home who don't know who you are. Do you want to give us a wee introduction, maybe how you got into whiskey?
Oh dear.
How long have we got?
Well, really, it was by default. I was driving school buses at the time randomly and went to GlenDronach and did the tour with some of the school kids. And I met one of the guys that was working. He was head marshman at the time. And he basically said, "Look, they're looking for weekend workers. Would you like to do that?" And I went, "Absolutely not. There's no way that I could ever stand up and speak about whiskey to anyone, although I do like drinking it." But he forced my hand and he made me go and speak to the manager at the time, a guy called Alan McConaughey. And, ended up taking a weekend job. That lasted about 3 months, and then they gave me the visitor centre manager's role. So I think I did okay, and that was it. So that's gone back nearly 18 years. You know, it's a wee while. So I worked for Billy and his crew doing there for 9 or 10 years, I suppose it was. And then I moved up to GlenAllachie when Billy moved and opened the visitor centre there, which was a challenge in itself. Basically got handed a set of keys to which, if you've been, you'll have seen it. The tiny wee visitor centre we used to have, which is basically looks like somebody's house, like the living room and the kitchen. It was 2 wee rooms. I got handed the keys and said, "Well, there you go. You can just make it work." And that was it. Got left free rein. I'd just sit down and actually make up a tour for folk to learn.
Right.
Then I'd employ a few folks. There was no tours or nothing at that point. So it was an extra site that was merely used just for production. So it was quite exciting. And I seem to have managed to do it because in our second year, we got visitor attraction of the year. So that was a cool award. So I think we nailed that. But yeah, got into it by absolute default and kind of never looked back, really. Met a lot of interesting characters, as we all have. That is kind of cool because I like to call them repeat offenders. They're these guys that kind of follow you from distillery to distillery, and in a stalkerish way. Well,
I'm sure you've got your fair share of
when
stalkers.
they start being this year, when they see you, you feel a wee bit not sure about him. But no, it's cool. I quite enjoy the fact that even seasonal at Strathisla last year, they've been popping in past for a wee visit and a wee tasting and that, and coming up here to the Whisky Shed. So that's been quite cool.
Mhm.
Good to know that people enjoy you because they want to come back and see you again. You must be doing something okay. They haven't found me out yet anyway, so I'm being all right.
Well, do you know, I was on one of your last tours at GlenDronach, and I remember your tour because it was so much fun. And we dropped them, it was like winter, because I think you were just closing down tours for the winter, or you were maybe, there was less of them or something. Anyway, we kind of turned off on the off chance, and this, like, that annoys me when people do it to me at the distillery, but I became that person and just turned up on the off chance. And you took me around because we got speaking about, obviously I work at Glengarry, we got speaking about distilleries. And like, oh, I'll take you out. And it was so much fun. It was me and my ex-husband, who is a twat, and his pal. But we had like the best tour ever. And I remember saying to Mike, oh, there's wifey over at wifey, this lady at GlenDronach. And he said who you were. So yeah, I remember your tour because it was just kind of off script, but in a professional way. You know, it's like, there's obviously a brand message that comes across in a lot of the tour, but you're also quite off the books as well, which was quite nice. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I think that's really good to hear, especially because you do the same as me, Dan. You've got that kind of, you know how to do your tours. And I think it's sometimes really nice to hear that for somebody that's actually in the business and you ken how you've got to deal with folk. That's good. That's good feedback.
It's quite a good, I think it's a skill, not everybody, because as you just said, that, you know, when somebody said to you, oh, you know, be a tour guide the weekend, you're like, oh, no way could I speak in front of somebody. Like, there's a difference between learning a script and speaking in front of somebody and then actually tailoring what you say depending on the audience. Because, you know, you could have complete novices who just want to tick a box and say they've been to a distillery and they just want the very basic, you know, 3 ingredients, shiny machines, spirit comes out. And then you get like the whiskey geeks that really want to know the details. And then maybe you get the ones that kind of want more romantic. You know, it's like you've got to tailor it every single time. Not everyone can do that. That's no shade on people that can't do it because you've got the script there for them to fall back on. But like the really good guides that you remember are the ones that make it a bit more personal. And that's like it's not an easy thing. Yeah, I think it's maybe something you can't learn. I think it's maybe something you've got. But well, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Quite nice you go to other folks' distilleries and you get that feeling. You're like, you really know when they're enjoying their job.
Yeah.
And they're not just going, oh, well, here, I'm out for the pay. You can when they got passion in it. And that's the tours that you'll always remember a tour like that. 100%. There's a lady that used to work at Glengarry many years ago now, Jane
Catnach.
Little wee wifey.
Yeah, she trained me. She left I was like the last person trained up before she left.
Oh, I love Jane. Is she still in the village and is she okay?
Yeah, she's in Methlick.
Sure.
But yeah, she's never off the heat of the road. I spot her every now and again. Last time I spotted her was up Benahee. I'd gone for a walk and she comes barreling down from the top and she's like, "Oh, it's you, Kat," and gives me a big hug.
And you're lucky to get trained through her. Absolute legend. She's one of them kind of wifeys that you could learn things for. She's the one that you could pick things out of her tour and put it into your own. It would sound amazing. Because I kind of did do that, to be fair. I used a few bits of hers. Really cool, really nice. Yeah. But as you say, she said it with passion. She said it with meaning, and it was heartfelt. Yeah. You know, I was sad when I walked in.
She just loved the place.
Yeah, I did a tour. Well, I took folk to Glengarry a couple of weeks ago for Mike, and she wasn't there. You know that way you just think she'll always be there. And there's a different wifey working. Yeah. It was like, she's a really nice lady, but I was like, first Jane, she went, "Oh, she retired ages ago." I'm like, "Oh, missed the boat there." Bring her back.
There's no options. Yeah, that you get that unless it's somebody local or somebody who's maybe in a management position. Because a lot of distilleries now, it's kind of jobs or it's somebody just to tide you over, and then they're off. And there's every time I go, and them quite often, that is a different person every time. And you kind of, although it's nice to see new people, you want to build up that kind of repertoire with folk and have a new I just thought I'd
Definitely.
jump in and say something while I had the chance, because you two were just going off at the your kilter. It's like, well, but both of you probably be able to answer this question. I don't know if you're working at GlenAllachie and kind of setting up there. You know, Kat, I know you've done kind of the tours. So when you're sitting down scripting a tour, given that you have people who are the checkbox, you know, I want to see a distillery, I want to drink a Scotch while I'm in Scotland, right up to the geeks. Where do you start on that tour? Where do you think, right, this is my audience and this is what we need?
So for me, when I was sitting scripting it, I actually did a couple of versions of the script. Very much the same message about, like, obviously maturation, distillation, everything else that goes with it, but just key points. But then I did more of it wasn't written down on paper as the geek tour, but it was the connoisseur tour. So I made more of a, like, really in-depth geeky tour for them. So depending on which tour I knew they wanted, you knew what to tailor into it. But then we experienced, you knew that anyway. I mean, you could tick a group of tick boxers, first timers out with your whiskey geeks, and you could just make it work for everybody.
Yeah.
It was difficult, but you could. But it was quite nice. So if I knew that there was people that hadn't been before, depending who was out on tour, they knew exactly what to say, if that makes sense. 9 out of 10 times, if it was a connoisseur group, the while I was working, would be like, oh, Karen, you do that one, which I didn't mind. It was really quite nice. It gave me a chance to kind of go full throttle on it, so it wasn't good. But yeah, there was ways and means of doing a kind of wee bit of both on paper. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same. Whenever I've created a tour, I'll create a sort of basic training tour. If it's a new member of staff, you know, they still need to know they still need to learn how distillation works. And so I'll get like the sort of basic run through of the distillery, and then I'll always just add in extra information, because as you see, as this member of staff kind of grows in confidence, they also want to learn more. So members of the public will ask them questions that'll make them want to research it. So I always have the extra information below. And then we've got like two kind of key points that are different from the distilleries, which is the floor malting and the direct firing. So I have to make sure that the team has a full understanding of that, because it's really important they get that key message across to members of the public. But yeah, you just see them gradually kind of building more and more layers as they get into it.
Totally. I mean, this year, doing at Strathisla, I was just a tour guide. That's what I was doing. Sorry, a seasonal host is the technical name. But there was they were taking on new staff right, left, and centre, because folk were leaving, and they were taking new folk on. So instead of the folk in the office coming out and teaching them or training them, oh, Karen, you could easily do that. So I was only there a few months, but I ended up training folk as well, which was cool. It was nice to be trusted.
Yeah.
But as you say, you just get them key points, because there was so much history with Chivas that it was blowing their minds. They were getting these information sheets for the office, or just you learn that. I was like, give me that, then right, here you go, you learn this, and then I'll take you further. And as you say, give them a wee bit extra if they got confident on it. There's nothing worse when you get too much thrown at you, because it doesn't come across. It comes across like rabbit in headlights. So.
Yeah,
definitely.
Probably focus more on remembering dates and remembering names of people and panicking about getting that wrong, than actually just making the guys who are on the tour relax and enjoy it.
Definitely.
There's a small percentage of people who are interested in that side of things. They want to get to the end of the tour and get some drams, really, don't they?
With that kind of, no offence to Strathisla, that cracking place, but yeah, very much a tick box tour. So wee bits like, oh, we'll go there and get a wee tour around, and unlike some of more like, so probably Glengarry, GlenDronach, GlenAllachie, it's more like your whiskey geeks. Their diehard fans are coming out. We get folk just walking in off the street there, just looking for a wee tour. So yeah, definitely there's a lot more to it. But no, it's
you've got that the fact that you're on the A96, isn't it? It's quite a nice thoroughfare, and there's a lot of traffic there. Buses going from Inverness to Edinburgh could pass it and whatnot. It's a nice location, and it's a stunning distillery.
It's
is it the most photographed distillery in Scotland?
Yeah, because the double pagodas and the big water wheel and everything. Yeah, it's beautiful.
It is beautiful. I was there last year. That's where I got the bottle from, and I really enjoyed it. It's really nicely put together. You've got that kind of big kind of display room where they have like the doors with like the sort of ingredients behind it and the video and stuff. It's nicely put together. It's definitely a good one in the nicest possible way if you're ticking a box as a tourist. You just, it's quite visual. quite interactive, and then nice gift shop, and out you go. So.
And then with the prices in the shop, if you're just I wouldn't say a normal tourist, sorry, no disrespect to anyone, but if you're just popping in just for a wee tour and you're not willing to spend, if it would be a decent 12-year-old nowadays, about 40-50 quid.
Yeah.
About that. Well, you can jump onto the Chivas range and get a bottle for 30 or 26, 27 £27. So it's making it more realistic for them. Well, I didn't really drink whiskey, but I could buy a bottle of that and put it in the cupboard. So price-wise, we found that in the Chivas brand and the very limited Strathislas, it meant there was a budget that folk could spend, which was quite interesting.
Yeah.
I've never had that before. I've just.
But you've also got the thousands of pounds range as well, don't you?
It's mental, absolutely mental. But no, it is a cool distillery. I've really enjoyed it. Just the simple fact it's local. I mean, it's 4 or 5 miles for the house door. So instead of driving, 40, 50 miles, I'm driving 12 miles a day. So it kind of made sense just to get nearer home. So we'll see what happens. We're meant to get back in March. I haven't heard much about it yet, they haven't said. So I'm just waiting to see what's happening. Hopefully get back. Kind of see why not, but you never know. We'll wait and see.
Well, yeah, we will start a campaign here and now. Get the placards, but I'm sure you'll be welcome back. I'm heading over to Keith tomorrow to get my hair done. I'll come chap your door.
Go and get a chap and say, look, get Karen back in the books, man. Come on, play that.
I will.
I'll be quiet there just now, I'd imagine. Get your hair done in Keith. You can buy the wife of yours to Keith for a hairdo.
Well, it's just Huntley. It's only 10 minutes up the road.
Oh,
but,
well, you're not too bad. Oh, well.
Yeah.
If it about
By the
night,
time that just throws her hair out the window, she's like Rapunzel. She just throws it out the window and the hairdresser Keith does it.
Like my hair's down the night. It's normally tied back, but I just go out the shower. And the minute it's getting dried, it's just going curly. It's just going to go like that in a minute. So right
see, there we go. I'll be in good company. Mike, we'll just talk hair and
products, you know.
Yeah, I know all that, don't
they? He suits it. I like his little hat. It's cute.
Your wee hat. We should get you some Blether.
We should get Blether bonnets on.
Yeah, Blether bonnets.
Yeah.
Get that in the merch, Mike.
Totally. And Blether nose and glasses. That would be good.
Yeah, they are on. They are in the pipeline. We've got. I was hoping they'd be ready to announce today, but not quite. We're almost.
Oh
there.
right. Oh, that's cool. Oh, I'll take one of them, please, sir. That'll be good to hear my drama.
Well, we've got the Blether Instagram as well. Everybody who's watching, once you're finished watching, go over to Instagram and give us a follow. The Blether now has an Instagram page, so you'll be featuring on it after this, Karen. You'll go up on the Instagram page. So yeah.
Is that new cut?
It is, yeah. It kind of happened Monday, Tuesday. We've been gradually filling it up. Started on Sunday. I've been gradually filling it up for the last couple of days. So yeah, no, it's looking really good.
I'll go and look you after, definitely. I'll give you a like.
Thank you.
I'll just pop it into the chat there at Whiskey Blether.
Awesome.
So what's Mike's highlight of the year? I not even asked you that. What's your highlight of last year?
Is he frozen?
He's gone.
He has gone. He's frozen.
Give a poke.
See if that works. He's either thinking about it really intently or he's just frozen. At least it's not my internet this time. Well, we can ask you instead, Karen. What is your highlight from the year?
I think for me, with him done my little whiskey shed here at the house, the amount of followers that I've gotten coming from overseas to come and visit me and have a whiskey tasting up here at the farm, it's been absolutely mind-blowing. The amount of bookings I had last year, just with folk that I've known for like years through distilleries, and they've came up here and did some whiskey tastings and that with me, so that was kind of nice. Cool. But yeah, I think that was probably my main highlight. I suppose getting on, I reckon, being allowed to go and work at Mike's as well is a highlight, because I'm meeting so much different folk through
The old
there.
smoothie. The smoothie.
Pay your eyes, thermocrawling. Hi, you're back on, Mike. Hi.
Just in time.
No, it's really
It's
cool.
very typical that you're up in the back end of Keith, and then Cat's in Huntley, and I'm the one in the metropolis of Inverurie, and I've got internet issues.
You're on the bright lights, man. The bright lights. The big smoke. No, I think there's been a few good ones, but working at yours, Mike, is ace for me because I'm learning a lot more products. Although I've drank quite a lot of the names, I've not really gotten into them, if you get what I mean, because I've not had to. For us now, I'm learning every time I go, there is a blooming pest. Every time I go on a Saturday, there's more stock. You're like, oh, for God's what's next? And Janice will say, oh, that's new. And your GlenDronach Hill range, but it's great because you're learning a lot more about different distilleries that I wouldn't have necessarily wanted to.
Yeah.
But yeah, and you get a lot of folk coming and going. Nearly every Saturday, there's folk coming in I'm starting to recognise because they must go, that must be their like ritual on a Saturday,
Yeah.
going to Mike's for their bottle. It's really cool. But yeah, it's good. Good
How do
quality
people?
stock.
It is a very good quality shot, and you're right. I had to learn a lot about different brands because I've been talking about the same ones consistently for 5-6 years, and I go into Mike's. I'm like, I don't even think I've heard of that whiskey before, but and people that come in, yeah, like it's a good range of people that come in. Is get like the really knowledgeable ones that are looking for something different because they've tried a lot of things, and they kind of test you that way. Or you get the ones that are complete novices that just kind of want really kind of honest sort of advice and stuff. So it's a great way of broadening your knowledge base. I was going to ask you, so we moved on from it quickly. How do people book on to, or how do people find you to do your whiskey tastings in your shed?
So I've got a Facebook page. It's called Drams with Karen. So you can find me through Facebook. I'm on WhatsApp and stuff as well, so you can get me through either of them stations. Just like it and share it. I've had a good few likes again this month. It always gives you a little update on Facebook how much page likes and things you've had. So it's quite cool because you can see they're still coming in. So yeah, quiet just now. Obviously being too snowy and you can't get anybody here to cancel a tour tasting last week because they couldn't get to me, and there's no way that I would have wanted them here in this conditions. So wee bit of a bummer, but come the better weather, you're out there, and well, Mike's been in the shed. I mean, it is a whiskey shed. It's basically a shed with whiskey, and there's a table and seats and stuff. It sounds really low key, but you're there to drink whiskey. It's not very flashy, but we've got a wee heater now, Mike, so we're doing all right. We're doing good.
The whiskey's warm enough. That's all you need.
Central heated. But no, yeah, if anybody wants to get in touch, that would be great. Look me up through
I've just
Facebook.
popped your Facebook page up on the link as well.
You. That's perfect.
So,
well.
Folk at home can copy and paste that and give Karen a follow. Dave Muir, if you're still on Facebook, Karen's still got your glasses.
Dave. Oh, they're lovely. I might actually need to use them later on. I can barely see the screen. Yeah.
He is what he says. He thinks he was there too.
But if I want to read legs on them, they might suit me actually. Yeah, it might have a shot of them. They're still in safekeeping, mate.
Dave's got that kind of feminine structure on his face, so
it's really bony. He's quite chiseled, isn't he? Definitely.
Chiseled. He's gonna love that if he's still watching.
oh me.
You need his glasses to see to get him appear, Loon. It's a bloody shame.
But we won't go into the story of how Dave got home that night.
That's not the same story about when he got lost. Is this the same?
No, not at all.
Moving on then.
Moving on swiftly.
Jeremy is complimenting you, Karen. He says Karen knows how to adapt a tour for geeks. I'll no blether on about distillation or maturation. Let's just get into the tasting.
Jeremy's a little devil. He'll just be looking for a free dram the next time he's here. That's what he's looking for.
What else have we got going on? Mark Stephen was on your final GlenAllachie tour. He says the Pier Quine was in bits.
That wasn't an easy day. I tell you, it really wasn't an easy day.
Yeah.
Things happen, but they are. I mind that I got a lovely bunch of flowers for some of the customers that day as well, and that was just that done, just in bits. Couldn't barely speak. It was quite bad. But there's one thing I've always said: you didn't go back. You move forward.
Right.
And that's
So you
something
wouldn't go if you were given the opportunity?
No, and Billy kens that. I mean, I get quite frequent texts with Billy, keep in touch. It's quite
That's
nice
nice.
when you get a wee Billy message. And I constantly wish him well with the Whiskey Shed. On the Facebook page, he left me a really nice, is that a testimonial you cut? Or a really
Yeah,
nice
seen that, yeah.
which is quite sweet of him. And he's a good guy, but no, he was gutted that I left. He was really annoyed. But at the end of the day, he says, it's the right thing for you and we'll keep in touch. And I thought I'll never hear from this bloke again. But him and, you remember Alan McConaughey that used to work for him previously at GlenDronach and that? Well, he's moved into GlenAllachie now. He's managing it. Helping Billy has been for the past, since a few months. So I got an odd message for Alan as well. So we just keep in touch. So you have a lot of folk. It's just that you're not working with them. But if you're close enough to them, they'll keep in touch. I think that.
I think Billy has that attract you. He's obviously somebody who people enjoy working for because, like yourself, like Alan and Lindsay, people follow. If he moves to somewhere else, a lot of people go with him. You know, It's almost like a football manager will go to a new club and he'll sign his former players because they know how they work and you know what's expected. And you take that kind of stamp with you, and it's a testament to him and how he runs his distilleries.
I think you're right. He's a good guy to work for as well. He doesn't suffer fools gladly either. He comes across as this like wee placid manny that just gets on with mucking whiskey, but he's genuinely a nice guy. Remember when actually we were creating, remember I showed you my batch 3. I kept this for a reason because this is one of the ones that I helped Billy work on when he was in the warehouse pulling samples out. I was in the lab with him and he gave me a taste of that raw for the cask before he actually decided what to do with it, which was quite fun. And I remember tasting it and my eyebrows just shot up like that. You know how something's that good, you're like looking at your glass. And he went, aye, McWilliam, that'll do nicely. And I just got a nod. So I came back and it was a good few months later, this appeared in the shop and I looked at it and I said, if it's this we've got now, Billy. And he went, well, you should know, you've drank it. And that was one of the ones that he'd let me taste out in the lab. So I thought it was quite cool. It's one of that kind of daft things that you'll always remember.
That's a very cool moment. That must be one of your kind of standout whiskey moments. So I can imagine you can have a few of those over your career, though.
I think my first one probably with Billy. No, it wasn't even with Billy. Probably when I moved up to GlenAllachie and I had to go to one of the Spirit Speyside opening dinner things. I thought, I may want to go and do this because I've got to put on a dress. I didn't do dresses. But I had to go and put on a dress and get my hair done and everything. And it was just like, goes against my grain. I go about in wellies when I'm there at work, you know. But I remember Billy and I going in and we got our photos taken. It was lovely. It was really nice. It was, where was we? Glenfiddich that year. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So we got to the table and Billy was shifting the name cards around to who he wanted to sit next to. So I'm standing there thinking, where am I sitting? Here's Billy going, hey, like this, a naughty wee schoolboy. And he's got my name right next to his and he moved Richards and somebody else's along so that I had to sit next to him. And I've got these memories on my phone came up not that long ago of me and him just sitting there like this. I'd had my hip flask with me inside, I'm not showing you where, but it was with me in my between that and the amount of drink, it was great fun, honestly. I've actually I took the picture off and I've got a wee plaque in my shed with me and Billy. Just, you can see the reaction in our faces. It's meant to be a smile, but it was a good evening. Difficult being a tour at 10 o'clock the next morning for 16 folk the following morning up. I needed a gram for breakfast that day, I tell you. Good fun, good times.
I haven't had the pleasure of meeting him, but I think you've met him a few times, Mike, haven't you?
Yeah. We had him on a Blether. We could say in the years of BC before Cat, he was on a Blether.
I love that.
We met him. I've met him a couple of times at the distillery. David Muir, who's watching, and our friend Gavin. When we came up to you, Karen, at the shed, that was from GlenAllachie, where Billy did a wee one-to-one tasting. We met him through the academy as well. Yeah, we met him a few times. And cool. I think the awards dinner. This is one of my claims to fame. The awards dinner where I think you guys got the Visitor Centre of the Year. we got the retailer of the year.
That's right. Aye.
Bill was there, and he came up to me and shook my hand and said he recognized me, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. It was like proudest punch. So we got photos taken. I always say to people, yeah, Billy asked for his photo taken with me.
Of course he did. Like
I'm sure that was never his profile pic on Facebook, though. It was mine.
He's got you as a screensaver if you want a boot. He must have liked you, Mike, because the amount of folk he's got to deal with day in and day out, he likes to just be kept in the sideline. It's like if we do like distillery exclusives and stuff, Billy would come into the shop forced in by the folk doing at the head office. Oh, Billy, you better go up and do some signings and stuff. He hated every minute. Well, I shouldn't say that, but he's like, I'm here to make whiskey, Karen. I'm not here to be sat in the shop doing this. I've got things to do.
I'm not a celebrity.
Running in, is Billy here? Please, can you sign my bottle? I'm like, no, Billy's too busy. You know, it was a shame. So he'd quite often leave his job to come and try and chat to folks. So you were quite fortunate that you actually wanted to come and say hi. Oh, he's frozen again.
No, I'm not.
Oh, well, your face was frozen. Oh, no, you're back. Your face was frozen. You're either really good at sitting still or every now and again you freeze.
I was just reminiscing. I was off in a wee world.
Just thinking about Billy's bozies.
With me and Billy, yeah.
Sitting daydreaming about Billy Walker. That's just normal. It's fine.
I'm going to be the person that's done that. And what made it better was Robin Lang came over.
Billy's watching this. He's got to be sat there creased. I'm actually going to go and text him later and say, go watch this.
But see, I always say he's like the Dumbledore of whiskey, because to me he just seems to be like this amazing kind of wizard that brings together like these barrels and stuff and creates. But then somebody did say to me, like, do you think you'd actually like being known as the Dumbledore of whiskey? I'm like, I'm pretty sure you would. Like, you would not want to be known as Dumbledore. I think
quite cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I think.
Is he a Harry Potter fan? Do we know?
Oh, he probably has to be, because he's got a wee granddaughter, and she would probably be at that stage now about into Harry Potter. So yeah, I'd imagine that's Ali's his son's daughter. She's a wee cutie. She'd be at that stage. It doesn't pass kids out, does it? Harry Potter just goes with them at a certain age, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I think so. I think it's like dinosaurs, cars, tractors, Harry Potter, Transformers, boobs. I'm just going to buy my kids.
Transformers, I mean, when they first came out, my goodness. No, I dare say that if she thought her granda was Kardashian, it'd be a cool granda.
Yeah,
he seems like a very cool guy.
Mordechai is he's the Willy Wonka of whiskey.
Did he get a golden ticket?
Yeah, Willy Wonka freaks me out. The whole Charlie Chocolate Factory Oompa Loompas give me the right creeps. I don't know if I can think about Billy Walker.
I'm carrying an Oompa Loompa if Billy Walker was Willy Wonka.
I've just got this vision of Lindsay and the warehouse team going about like the Oompa Loompas. It'd be quite funny. One of them doing the vats. Oh, it'd be hilarious. I think
I would love to be Augustus Gloop. I would dive into that river of whiskey.
Totally would, yeah. A minute.
Do you know, Mike, your fancy little light has slipped down over your screen and kind of given you a sort of dramatic horizon. There you go.
A little, what do you call it?
It's like a sepia film, like a black and white film.
Yeah.
And we just,
I had to plug it in. It kept going off. That's maybe why I froze, because I was playing about with that. I'm going to go back, Karen. We've got a few great comments on. Dave Fagerson is asking, Karen, is your shed accessible by train and then taxi? Which I would probably say is the best way to get to it, isn't it?
I'd say train to Keith, and then we can arrange taxis for Keith Station and up to here and back. No problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave Mears says he got poured into your shed, but he's still blaming you for that night.
Probably true. No, he was actually okay when he arrived, wasn't he? Oh, okay. Might have been me. But it was your fault. It was your fault, Mike. I'll blame it on you entirely for bringing him.
It's the altitude.
Not Dixie had just taken him along. Just there was another question. What to do? Oh, Phil Dixon. Phil Dixon.
Yeah. Phil.
And I'm going to ask you both at this one, actually. What's the strangest tour you've ever done? And he said to date. And I reckon he's put to date is because he's going to take note and then he's going to come to your tours at some random time and do something weirder.
That'd be hilarious.
So, like, sort of strangest tour group that we've had, or like strangest experience while touring. Is it like an open-ended question, I guess?
Yeah.
I think so. What one that pops to my head, and it was a stag do, and the guy, I always get the stag do's, and stag do's are hilarious because they all think, "Oi, oi, come on, lads, whiskey," and then you talk to them for like an hour and a half about like chemistry and history, and you can just see them deflating.
Sober not.
But this guy was in a red cocktail dress and stilettos, and like I don't know how he found stilettos that large, and like 5 minutes into the tour and he was struggling, his feet were hurting, you could just see like the pain in his eyes. But anyway, they were a really nice group, we had a nice time, it was all fun, a bit of fun in the warehouse and stuff. That was cool. Anyway, about like, I don't know, 6 months later, I was at a whiskey festival and this guy comes marching up to the table. He's like, he says, "I bet you don't recognize me with my clothes on." I thought,
oh my word.
Yeah, how drunk was I that I don't remember? But he could, but like he could see the confusion in my face. He's like, I'm the guy in the dress." I'm like, Jesus, how drunk was I that I don't remember going to bed with a guy in a dress?
Oh, God.
Anyway, he brings his wife over. He's like, "I got married. This is my wife." I was like, "Oh my God, the guy in the red cocktail dress." But honestly, like my heart, like my stomach dropped. I was like, "Who the hell is this? And what did I do?" So
horrendous.
That's the one that pops to mind for me. Anyway, maybe a bit of an overshare.
Oh, God, that's a belter.
Imagine that, Karen.
Oh no, I've nothing. Nothing. Mine's crap. Mine's really poor. I suppose the most random one for me was there's a really, really nice couple. They like to take their little pet rat, a stuffed rat toy, on tour with them.
Okay.
And every tour they go to, the wee rat comes with them and they're wandering along getting photos of the rat next to certain areas in the distillery, and then they buy the rat wee pin badges and stuff. He's got his own Facebook page, the rat.
I've met them. I know exactly who you're speaking about.
Can't wait to bed with the rat.
They used to tag me into their photographs as well.
I had to stop that. I was like, no, they're lovely, really nice people. If you're out there, hi, how you doing? Give the rat a hug for me.
People.
Nice to see you. But no, just random. And these people be little Lego people, like made Lego people of themselves and took them on tour and went to place them next to certain areas and get little Lego pictures. Or there'd be Lego toys.
Yeah, I've had that. And I've had, it was a group of American ladies that were following Outlander. So they were heading to Castle Fraser, of course.
Fraser.
But they were like, "Oh my God, you're so Scottish." So I had to hold this little cardboard cutout of Jamie Fraser all around the tour. So like, every time we got to a different place, I'd be like holding this little Jamie Fraser.
Oh my God.
We were heading off to like the Stone Circle afterwards with the little wee cardboard Jamie Fraser to get a wee photo. And they're like, "We'll send you the photos." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, please do."
The name's Mike Stewart.
Did you get the photos?
I don't think I got those ones. People do send photographs quite often if they take pictures of you, which it's really sweet actually. If they'll send like photographs to the distillery and stuff and write nice. It's nice when people actually remember you and write nice things. So
it's good when you get remembered for the right.
You're lining a good job, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's quite a. I think one of my most random probably ones was these guys. You probably, I don't care if you got them at yours or no, but at GlenDronach there was a group of guys. It wasn't a stag do, just a group of genuine whiskey geeks going about. But their thing was to try and jump in and skinny dip in
the
water
water.
sources.
Yeah.
So there's these guys that did the tour and everything. The next tour is about to come in, and might where the burn, the Dronach burn runs through GlenDronach. Well, the next hello, there's these guys stripped butt naked, jumping in to the water source as my next tour group was walking past to go and tell them a wee bit about the history. And all that I seen was these wee white bums. I was like, I couldn't concentrate on my tour, I'll be quite honest with you. I didn't give her a look, that way. You're like,
yeah. Were they Norwegian?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've not met them, but they did the same at Knockdo.
Knockdo.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard there was an incident. Somebody burned their legs on one of the worm tubs.
Yeah, they jumped into the...
And somebody burned their leg. Do you remember that?
I don't remember them burning their leg, but I remember them jumping in, yeah.
Remember that? And then they got arrested at Glenfiddich. All on the same day. They tried to go in, they were told get off site, but they went down in the darkness and jumped in the water. Where the big fountain thing is? It's really pretty. They jumped in there and they got arrested for it. I remember that being the end of their tour.
The jovialities, yeah.
It was funny, but they probably didn't afford distilleries by that time. But anyway, that was quite interesting.
We've got an underground spring, so we're quite safe from nudity.
Skinny dippers.
There's nowhere they could take a duke, is there?
Oh, they could go to the old water source, but it's in a housing housing estate. So
at the distillery, there's nowhere.
They're washing.
That would be over the Facebook Blether page, wouldn't it?
It's going on in Old Meldrum. Just little bums. Oh man.
Karen, we've got Mir Jam. I hope I've pronounced that right. He's on Facebook. He's saying, nice to see you. He's apologising to me and absolutely no need to apologise. People come on to speak to our guests. You were the first lady to give him a tour at GlenDronach.
Oh,
the day Brown Foreman took over. So he's saying greetings from Holland and he hopes to see you again soon.
Well, come and see us anytime. We're in touch on Facebook anyway, so keep in touch. That's cool. Hearing all the different names tonight.
Mm-hmm. Roy of Speyside saying they weren't his tour boys, but he has had a few Norwegians back in the day.
That's right. He's got a lovely house that he rents out just out the Rothus Elgin Road, Roy, and he used to be a tour guide himself. He used to have a wee bus and he took folk around all the distilleries. His dad worked in distilleries and stuff as well. Roy's family are well into their whiskey side of things. So nice guy, Roy. Topper.
Good stuff. So it doesn't do tours anymore?
Fan club on tonight?
No, he's stopped that being for a wee while. I think probably COVID kind of times maybe killed up for a lot of folk, didn't it? Really, it's a shame, but
yeah.
But no, top guy. You can the guy that follows Billy and them at Rolf, whatever his name is. He's the main
Nikolai.
Guy. He stayed at Roy's accommodation when he was here last year. And Roy gave him a wee whiskey taste, and I remember hearing all about it. So, Roy's a good guy. Cool.
Excellent. Talking to top guys, Lindsay Cormie has just popped on. He's saying hello.
Lindsay. I hope he didn't hear where a little bit about Oompa Loompas in the warehouses, but we'll be all right. I'm sure he'd be game for it.
I think so. It'd be a good Halloween. We get Billy with the purple top hat and Billy in the green wig, and
you can put little golden tickets inside your whiskey boxes, and whoever gets the golden ticket, go and see him.
That would be good.
It's quite a good idea, to be honest, actually. But yeah, give that one a go.
I think so. Right.
I think we should, even if it doesn't happen, it should be like Little Brown Dog's next video should be that.
Oh, how funny would that be? Yeah, we could sell that idea to Andrew because we made the idea. We'll sell it to him for like a whiskey. I'm quite cheap.
Yeah. As long as he's not listening now, because he might just steal it. If you're ready to open your bottle, I'm going to open mine at the same time, just because I make such an arse of it. So,
have you not opened your bottle yet, Kat?
No, I had something in my glass, and I've just been waiting. And I've been so caught up just chatting to Karen, like we're not even on live chat. I'm just like blethering away like we're in the shop.
I can imagine this whole time he's just been secretly under the camera, like unscrewing it.
Well, I took the box and realised.
It's a screw cap. It's a screw top, isn't it?
No, but do you know what gets me? It's like trying to get like what Karen's doing, getting the foil off
Stick your
the top.
knife to it.
See, we should have a race, you two.
She's winning. That wasn't
Ready for the
Go on.
noise?
Yes. There you go. Happy New
Love
Year.
That'll do.
Oh,
A wee
wow.
boost run.
So yeah, you're a bit of a sherry head then, Karen. I think we're opposite drinking styles by looks of things. I'm a bit more of a refill bourbon, but it means we'll never fight over whiskey. So we just fight
And
over
I've
other
probably
things.
got a ton of whiskey here that I want to drink, so just come and drink it for me. I'm fine.
Plenty for everyone.
Loads.
That batch 3, Karen, I think that was the first really sherried one, wasn't it? Because the first two, batch 1 and batch 2, were kind of a combination sherry, virgin oak, and wine, wasn't it? And then batch 3, I think he really loaded up with sherry.
Mm-hmm. And then since then, I think it's just progressed to be even just as sherry as it can possibly be. But batch 3, it's got some darkness about it, but I've got right up to, I think I'm up to batch 11 or batch 12 out in the shed, and they're a lot darker in contrast, but it's still nice.
I like how you put a dram. That is if that was a neck, that's a giraffe neck. That is a decent dram.
Karen's just got really small hands. That's all.
A little wobber. It's actually
It's
one
like
of that miniature glasses you sell in the shop, Mike. That's why it looks so much.
It's a mini blanket.
Baby glasses.
It's like Father Ted when you're trying to teach him about the sheep are really far away and they're not just really small. It's like, you're just holding up the screen. It just looks bigger is what it is.
It is, isn't it? Make it go like that. It's even huger. All right, cheers, folks. Cheers.
Cheers. I'm going to move on to my second dram, which is a wee hark back for you, Karen, to the GlenDronach.
Oh, you're not drink. I was witnessing some of that. That's the one that just came in the shop not long ago.
So this is the Ode to the Dark. So this is the PX sherry one, not the porter sherry.
That's very dark.
It is.
I never got any of that. You give me a sample of the other one. If it was at the
Valley. The Valley.
Aye, but it didn't get home. I had it in my piece box, emptied the piece box when I got back, and the thing had smashed.
Oh, no.
Oh.
I was gutted. I was absolutely gutted. I couldn't have cared less about cutting my hands or anything. But Neil, my other half, was standing here and he says, "Why are you crying?" I was like, "I'm not crying." I was like, "Mike, give me a sample of whiskey him to try it. I've not tried yet." And this is it. And he's like, "Oh, no." He said, "I'm going to get here at the end of this." I'm pretty much gutted.
Fear not, because I think they are a part of a new core range. They're going to be, so I think they're going to be around for a wee while now. So this is the PX one, so it's fully matured and exclusively in Pedro Jimenez casks.
Beautiful.
Ode to the Dark. It's a really nice dram.
Fits that 43, 46.
50.8.
Sorry?
50.
Oh, it's cast strength.
Yeah, 50.8. So I don't think it'd be natural cask strength, but it's cask strength all the same. It's
okay.
It's as you can see, I've had a scalp out of it.
You've just read recipe, just a couple of hoose drams. It's fine.
All for medicinal or research purposes.
Research. I like research, definitely. Have you tried it a few times then, obviously, because the bottles? Yeah. You like that one.
It's such a good dram, and it's. I feel I kind of feel like I have to defend. I did a video blog. I haven't released it yet because I've got to edit, and I end up when I do kind of a review, I just kind of let thoughts go, and then I edit it to what I think people want to listen to. And I absolutely went on a wee rant to a camera myself about people prejudging the whiskey, because GlenDronach, since Billy's left, has obviously gone through a bit of a change. And a lot of the fans who were generally what said, "I know where this is going, I'll try and keep it short," was, moving, people move with Billy, and then GlenDronach kind of prices started increasing, and we kind of saw the age statements, or the age it was going into the whiskey, people knew wasn't there, so the quality was a perceived drop and whatever. But what really got me was this range came out and people were judging them without trying them. And they were saying, "Oh, just another fancy marketing gimmick and all that." And I was like, "Well, it maybe is, but try it. Go down to the distillery and have a taste, or buy a bottle, put your money where your mouth is, and say, well, I'm going to try it." And I came across a review of all three of them, and each one said, in the kind of, they had tasting notes and all that, and quite detailed, in depth, and then the overall opinion. Each one of them said, "It's hard to judge the value of this dram when we don't know the age."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, you could taste it. You know what's in the glass. You taste it. If you think, actually, that's really fine, I'll drink it again, that's worth. I think they're 50, 69, and 80. I think is the 3 price points. If you think that's worth 50 quid, then that's value for money. It doesn't matter if it's 0 age or 100 years on it. Because I've had 18, 19, 20-year-olds that are pretty pants, but they're £200.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that for me is not value, but somebody purely going on age. So that's my rant on this. I think this is an absolute fantastic dram. It's maybe not quite up to the level of maybe some of the hallmark, the kind of revival that was pure Oloroso, or some of the cast strengths that came out. But there's a reason they're legendary, is that they would really stand out.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very, very good. It's PX, but there's still GlenDronach in there. There's still that kind of black currants and that kind of spiciness in there. It's not overly sweet. I think it's a fantastic whiskey.
No, you're right in what you say, because the amount of times I get folk, you'll be the same cut in your industry, but folk can be very ageist when it comes to whiskey.
Yeah.
Up here, when I do my whiskey tastings in the shed, I've taken to doing a lot of blind tastings recently, just for folk, just for a bit of fun, and just pouring a few wee things out. And 9 out of 10 times, it's the younger whiskey that stands out because folk have noticed it and tasted it, have appreciated it more.
Yeah.
Unless you get the folk going on colour.
Yeah.
A lot of folk will be like, the darker the better for me. So really nice, like you mentioned, the all 15-year-old there was really rich, dark colour, versus something a wee bit lighter and more bourbon. They would choose the darker one.
Yeah.
But if you do them in the dark glasses and you sit them down, it's amazing that the nose and palate will bring out.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be a whiskey 8, 9 years old. It doesn't have to be an old whiskey.
Yeah.
So as you say, it's what they create in the bottle that makes sense, doesn't it?
Well, put these two together. That's a 3-year-old and that's a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, isn't it? You can see even on camera, you can see the difference.
It's,
there's certain ages that people can't see past either. It's like 18, 21 seems to be these kind of perceived hallmarks of perfection.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's just because that a lot of core releases used to be those ages, and it's what people maybe got into whiskey with. And they kind of see that as their level of standard. But yeah, I mean, like some of the
that 17-year-old is far better than the 18 in the same range for me.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, just judge on its own merit. Like some of the best whiskey I've had is like really young whiskey coming out of really new distilleries. So yeah, but
I kind of understand the colour thing, not to a point that I agree with it, but visually, people buy with their eyes all the time, whether it's a bottle of wine, a mobile phone, or a card or whatever they're buying. A lot of people buy with their eyes, so you can understand that. It's the age thing I can't get my head around, because every distillery does so many different ages, or the indie bottlers do so many different ages, and you have people in the shop and you've had them in the distillery swear blind, I will never drink anything under 15 years old, or under 55%.
It's true. 100%.
You're shutting yourself out to so much good whiskey.
But they're the ones that are quite fun, because especially when I was working like some
You
at the
play with them
distillery.
like a cat and
I loved it.
toy, don't you?
Ace fun. You would go in the back and you pour them a dram and you say, all right, I've got something here you'll really enjoy. And I'd be cool coming out and, here, try this one. They're sipping away. What do you think of that? Oh, that's quite nice, quite complex is the word, well-rounded. They'll use other terms like big wordies. And they'll sip it up and I'll say, well, would you like to buy a bottle? Oh, I would. And they go directly towards that age statement and think it is. And I'll go, well, pull back a bit. That was an 8-year-old. And they're gobsmacked. It was ace fun. And they're absolutely gobsmacked. They're like, I honestly would not have gone to that, but thank you. A lot of them are a wee bit annoyed. But the next one's, oh, thank you so much. It means I could buy probably 3 bottles of that compared to one if I was going to.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a funny thing, the age statement. In the non-chill filtration process, we're going to go down that road because we'll be here until bedtime. But there's a lot of folk antsy about that I read in the packages nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
Do you think it's a buzzword that people now have learned that?
I think the consumer is a bit more well informed about what these things mean.
Filtration sits in that little middle part, doesn't it? That people who and aware of our audience, and I'm trying not to offend anyone, but you get people who know nothing about whiskey who like to drink it, and it's a dram, and they don't care about chill filtration or ABV, and these are probably the guys who'll probably sit between 40 and 43 because it's something that they can enjoy drinking. And they won't have heard chill filtration because it's never on the label and whatever. But if they try a new whiskey, what's this chill filtration? And that's kind of their introduction. But chill filtration is kind of in this kind of newbie whiskey geek where they've learned about it, and then all of a sudden, this is a buzzword. Like you say, well-rounded. There's these kind of things that they have a grasp of that they can use in colouring and things like that. And then you get to as you learn and you get more and more into whiskey, you kind of go to the other end and say, well, actually, I don't want to care about that anymore. I just want to taste it and find, this is a good whiskey. If you're open enough to it. Some people kind of use that to close themselves to this really elite group of whiskies that they feel they need to be like. It's I'll go through trends like boy bands and I don't know, TikTok pages or whatever the kids are in nowadays.
All right, Grandad.
I went from whiskey enthusiast to bloody Victor Meldrew in a second there.
Just sat there, he was piping a minute in the slippers. No, you're right.
I think it highlights the fact that we're consumer-led products. Like chill filtering and colour happened at a time when the consumer wanted mass product, and they wanted it to look and taste the same every single time. But now the consumer is a lot more well-informed. So the industry is adapting to that. It's not as quick as people and their drinking habits. So, I mean, most distilleries are moving towards non-chill filtration, natural colour, and new distilleries are starting out with that as one of their USPs. We are producing what people want. It just takes a minute for us to catch up with what they want because we have to wait at least 3 years for this stuff to be ready. It's not an instant change. But
I think it depends on the market as well, where your market is, because things like Chivas Blend will have a much different market to Strathisla single malt or Scapa single malt. And these
absolutely,
guys
100%. It's like the Strathisla isn't for sale anywhere else in the world. You can't pick it up anywhere. And there's a lot what you've just got to go into the shop and get. You couldn't even, I think, an online thing through them in the UK, but there's nothing that we didn't sell abroad at all, overseas at all.
Really?
There's enough quality, enough quantity on it. But yet 90% of the production goes into Chivas Blend. That kind of, I do want to go back, so I better word this carefully. It slightly irritates me because I feel that it's such a good quality whiskey. If you've tried it, well, you have mixed them and given you a sample.
Is it 12-year-old? Was it the old core range? Was it a 12 or a 10? 12, I think.
The 12 was, and now it's 11. So
it's 11 now. Yeah.
Here she is. Look, there you are. There's the 11. That's the one. That's been replaced now with the 12. That's a belter of a drum, actually. That's really good.
I haven't opened that one. Haven't opened it yet, but that might have to be the next one then.
That's a good.
Do we have time to have Kat opening 2 bottles of whiskey in one night? I'm not sure we do. It's quite a special occasion because you're normally driving and not having a dram at all.
I know, right? And I've got a day off tomorrow too. So yeah, I could.
Let's get on it.
Yeah.
After party. Well, we just record the after party as well.
Just record it.
I mean, I'm a pretty much 2 dram limit. So anything after that, I can't guarantee what's going to come out of my mouth. So yeah, let's go.
Men in red cocktail dresses and everything, and don't remember it.
As long as you didn't come through the house with the heels on, I'm naked and Mike.
I get stuck in the shed. I'll go through the floor.
Stuck down the cattle grids. Well, but that's a funny age as well. It's an 11-year as a core range. It's not your classic, is it? But they've obviously released it at the age that it was, sitting well at, which is quite cool to see.
And Karen, was that you might not know, it might have been a decision made previous to you joining, or what? Because Strathisla was a big seller for us. It was local, and it was a really nice kind of fruity pear drop, kind of sweety dram. And then they made a decision at some point to say we're not going to put this out anymore. Is that due to demand of Chivas elsewhere, and they needed more production to go into that, or was it actually we want to make this a bit more limited and more kind of sought after? Do you know what the thinking was, or?
I think really it was availability more than anything. I think the Chivas side of things, I think it was more the global market. They were quite, it's huge, absolutely massive. But did you ever get Strathisla in your shop?
Yeah, the Strathisla as well. Came in a wee white and pink box. It was a white box with pink writing, I think.
Mine
was such an easy, delicate GlenLivet style.
Lovely, beautiful whiskey. I've got one bottle left through in that whiskey cupboard through there. I think it's in that cupboard. And I've not opened it yet. It's one of them ones.
That whiskey cupboard, not that whiskey cupboard or that whiskey cupboard or that whiskey cupboard, but that specific whiskey.
I remember I've got too many whiskey cupboards at the minute. But no, I've kept it shut. But it's one of that kind of ones that, do I really want to open it? Yes, it was good, but is it that good? But it'll never be worth nothing. It's not like one of my collecting ones that I've got somewhere. I didn't think I'd lay it past to keep it. It will be open in Pug at some point.
Yeah. It's going to have a monetary thing going on there.
I think that they've got today, for me, I think they're daft selling it to locals. I think they're daft selling it to whiskey shops in Scotland. Why not? I mean, I know there's not enough of it.
Yeah.
But why not make more? That was me. I was like, when I was even taking around my tours, I was very honest with my customers. I was like, to be fair with you, I'm probably not putting across the message I'm meant to be, but with 90% of our production heads off in the direction of Chivas Blend, and we're only left with 10% to become the Strathislas of the future. I says, it doesn't sit well with me, this, because it's such a good quality dram that you'll experience when you get back, and folk would sit and drink it, and I shouldn't probably saying this online, but they'd be sitting there with their 3 wee drams, and there'd be one Strathisla, the 11 that you've got, Kat, and they've got Chivas, say American Rye, and at the end of it they had the Royal Salute, which is about £120 a bottle, very fancy. And you'd see them going with the first the Strathisla, quite happy going across the next but then a lot of them just kind of had gone like that and just sat there with the Strathisla. I'm like, what's your thoughts? That one all day long, and they'll go in the shop and they'll go and buy themselves a bottle because it was reasonable priced. But their question to me was always, why can't we get it at home? I'm like, because there's not enough of it. Seems quite sad, really. You just think they should see that the marketing side, it sells like hotcakes, could be up a wee bit, but then there's no way Strathisla up in production, because I think they're kind of maxed out just now in the amount they're creating in spirit. Right. Well, you've been in, you ken the size of the place, it's no massive.
They kind of just throw another couple of stills in there. It's certainly a good example of a distillery that was built within the confines of the building. It was there, wasn't it?
100%. I love the unique characters of the stills, the lie arms, swans necks. They're all so unique in shape and design. Yeah. Each one, the 2 wash stills and 2 spirit stills, if you look at them, their angles are completely different. It's quite an unusual distillery. It's really cute. I like it. Yeah. I like the history of it as well, which is good. I love a bit of history, but it took a bit to learn.
One of the oldest ones, isn't it? Is it like the
1786? That one.
Third oldest one, I think, isn't it? Is it GlenDronach, Bamore, Strathisla thing?
Say it. Go on. Say it.
Might be Glengarry after that.
It's Glengarry's year.
1797.
1790. Haha, we win.
Sorry, I'm losing your internet connection there, Karen.
Was that
and then you get GlenDronach, that young pup, 1826.
Young upstart.
I know. Do you know what? But GlenDronach's got this amazing, like, back and forth ping pong history with ownership. When I did I think it was when Callum still worked there. Callum, I always forget how to pronounce his last name, who's now over at
Diet.
Oh, Mike, help me.
Callum Diet.
Callum, yeah. Because obviously he's like a really knowledgeable whiskey geek, and he went through the complete ownership of like GlenDronach, and it's changed hands quite a lot over the years. I was like amazed, like that level of like dates and people to remember, because it's really gone back and forth. But I guess a lot of them have.
To be honest, Callum probably knew all that before he started working there as well. He's got that.
I know, yeah. He's almost like Jeremy with his encyclopedic knowledge of brands and history. Really, really clever lad.
It's quite nice when you get that, though. But no, the history of that place is amazing. I enjoy the history of GlenDronach because it is quite, I reckon, if we're probably allowed to speak about things, but there's a story as to how GlenDronach became the Gweed GlenDronach. Have you heard this scene about how it was marketed?
I think I know a story. Does it involve
certain ladies?
Yes, ladies. Yeah.
Is that safe to speak about if I use my language correctly?
Ladies of the night.
Ladies of the night. You're such a grandma.
It's very polite. James Allardyce, the founder of GlenDronach, he was quite a guy. Liked a wee bit one night, you liked ladies, but ended up creating, he was just a farmer, you know, he wasn't doing much anything, but ended up getting into illicit distilling, but kind of got caught out and had to either go big or go bold, you know, so he ended up creating the distillery eventually to what it is today. But when the whiskey had got to a point that he thought it was ready, he ended up bottling some and took off down to Edinburgh for a night out, and he was walking up the Royal Mile where he met two ladies of the night, we'll just say, and he went back to their digs for a nightcap. So they all had a wee GlenDronach, and basically the morning after it was said that they had a few of their gentlemen friends in to visit, and they all had a wee dram of the GlenDronach, and it was there that it became popular. So thanks to Edinburgh prostitutes, we've got the Gweed GlenDronach. So there you go. Unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah. The oldest profession in the world.
I know.
It is.
Some marketing.
Notes of blackcurrants and herpes. Lovely.
a wee hint of rolling tobacco.
I've never heard that story before.
I thought you were going to say I've never heard that tasting note before. No, I don't think I have either.
I haven't heard that tasting note before either, but that's an interesting story. I've never. Well, there you go. Because there's the Spanish. So we had this discussion not long ago, and I said, I think it was on here, Mike. And I was like, oh, there's a Spanish lady found in the cat.
It was Halloween, wasn't it? Or Halloween Blether. We spoke about the ghosts.
Yeah, and you hadn't heard that one. But no, there was a Spanish sort of señorita in her sort of, I can't remember what the Spanish veil dress was. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you know that story?
Aye, because
it was Karen.
Yeah.
It was
Karen dressed up as a señorita.
It was just the way to be caught scoofing out of the car, so she just snuck herself in.
Okay, and I left my maracas somewhere. I can't find them. I don't know how far they would be.
To this day, they still hear them crackling away in the warehouse.
No, it's true enough. I heard that story as well, that apparently obviously the casks, it was when casks got imported, as they do now quite frequently for Spain, but this wifey had gone inside a cask because it was pretty crap living out there in that day unless you had a good income. It was a really horrible place to stay, so she reckoned it would be an ideal thing to jump in a cask, and somebody shoved her onto a boat and away they went. And when she got to the other side at GlenDronach there, one of the staves had come loose. They were getting knocked the stave back in, and they realised that this is far too heavy. They opened it up, and here she is, stone deed, big smile on her face, quite happy. And they reckon she's haunted Glen House ever since. Mm-hmm. Glen House was built in 1771, so it's got a load of history. There's an underground passage comes from the back kitchen right underneath the gardens into warehouse 4 at the back. So apparently it was a secret passage so that if the master distiller or the manager at the time wanted to go and get whiskey in the middle of the night for guests, he didn't ever get caught nicking for the customs and excise man. So he'd made his sell a wee roadie, and you can go into it. I've been in it, and they've got it all cordoned off for safety, obviously. But I've been in and right through the passageway to the warehouse. It's really cool. And so there's all this little bits of history that unless you actually work
really
and get
cool.
into it, it's. I said to them, I said you should try and like strengthen all that up and market as part of like a connoisseur's tour. Like you fancy a secret dram, but obviously pay the duty on it. But sneak them in there and they think, oh, we're getting a sneaky dram. You know how folk would love it.
Yeah.
So if you're listening down
that's
for
a
me,
really
I'm
cool
open
idea.
to give you ideas as to how to run your tours.
You have said you're not going back, so it's not going to be under your stewardship.
No,
But
but I'll take
you should set yourself up as a consultant.
a wee consultant. I
that's
wouldn't mind
actually
doing that. But I need loads of whiskey to try before I decided.
Of course, without doubt.
Jeff Whiskey's just joined in, and I can only imagine what comment he is joined in on. What a sentence to join into the Blether. I'm going to guess it was
The
blackcurrant
currant and herpes.
Oh,
You know, when I write the little descriptions,
Yeah.
when I write the wee descriptions for each blether, the one with blackcurrant and herpes.
It's either that or
Edinburgh
Willy
Slappers.
Wonka and the Oompa Loompas.
Yeah, it's it's a good blether when it's diverse, when you go from Oompa Loompas to herpes. And I feel like Willy Wonka, everything about that implies herpes to me. So
I'm going to say cheerio to Mer Jam. He's got to go. He's going to go and have a GlenDronach dram.
Oh, excellent.
Oh, me. I am actually crying now.
Are you hearing a drama you're in yet, Mike?
That's what I started off with, the Holyrood.
Can I ask you a question then?
Mm.
Because I think your viewers might like to know, unless you've already discussed it. Have you discussed this one on your chat before?
This one.
We
have
new one.
Well,
what I'd like to know is, how did you come by choosing that one from that certain people that created it? What was your choices there? Did you
so basically, Mark, who works for Duncan Taylor at the shop, he's
Mark
a local lad.
Grandmother?
He's in Huntley, and he came in past, and he's like, I think I've got something that might interest you. I'd spoken to him before because we've already had 2 octaves from Duncan Taylor as shop exclusives before. 2 cultivations, which is unpeated Ardmore, and both went down fantastic. And he came in and says, I know that we've done, and we'd kind of spoken throughout the year because we're in our 10th year this year as a shop, so we've got some exclusives coming up with various. We're doing about 4 shop exclusives this year to celebrate being in our 10th year or building up to being 10. And he came in and he says, but this is kind of got to go quite soon. So this was about October, I think. But well, pre-Christmas, this could be a good one to try. He says, give me a shot. And he didn't tell me anything about it, where it was from or what. And he just gave me kind of a wee bottle. It was a wee bit bigger than that. It's probably something like that kind of size. Got a sample in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I took it and tried it. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. You could tell it was young, but it was quite intense flavor-wise. It's got got really nice kind of ginger note and rye spices, like a eucalyptus-y kind of sweetness.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much straight away, I go back to Mark and said, I want more information on this kind of from the business side. I made up my mind. I would buy the cask, and obviously there's the financial side of it that we have to look at and say, well, what are the costs and all that. So we did a bit of to and fro, and that was kind of it. The liquid was good enough to bottle. That was never a question. It was all about getting a price because it's an exclusive for the shop. Not everyone who follows us either on the Blether or online and stuff, buy from us online, get to come into the shop. And because it's 3 years old, my mind is thinking this is something we need to get liquid on lips for. People aren't going to buy a 3-year-old at £75 off the bat. They're going to want convincing. But I think we've done a good enough job in the past to kind of people will trust us to make that kind of choice and make sure it's a good whiskey. And that was kind of what I was thinking. And Holyrood's kind of coming through. People are starting to get what they're all about. Duncan Taylor and the Octave range has always got a fantastic reputation. Ultimately, it's pretty banging whiskey, and it's going well. It's not maybe quite as well as I would have hoped, but it's going. And like I said, it's just that time where we need to get it on lips. We need people trying it and tasting it, and if you have tried it at home, give us a wee review on it, and we can share it. I'm delighted with it. What was really interesting, we had a tasting 2 weeks. It was a week before Christmas, Thursday before Christmas, so about a week before Christmas, we had a tasting, and I had this poured. It was like dram number 4, I think, or 5, and the guys, as soon as they picked it up, they smelt it like, God, banana. And I said, really? Because that was nowhere near any of my tasting notes. And I picked up I always pour a wee sample if I'm doing a tasting. I said, Jesus. And the time between pouring it and just, it was probably in the glass for 45 minutes, maybe an hour. It really sweetened. It really gone really fruity. Compared to my tasting notes were really spicy and ginger and quite intense. It mellowed out beautifully in the glass. And it became a scoofer, a 55% scoofer, which is quite dangerous.
That's dangerous.
Yeah.
Aye. No, it's a brilliant dram. Really, really cracking. I've only ever tasted a wee bit of it in the shop, but I'm going to take a sample back home with me on Saturday, and I'm going to sit and I'm going to leave it to rest a while, and I'm going to revisit it, because I just think it's such a shame that mere folk can't do that. It's a shame they can't. If they come into the shop, they could try before they buy. And this is the delight of your place. We can give them a wee dram to let them taste it. Or if they want it till, they could come upstairs and do a wee tasting upstairs, couldn't they?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'd be quite open to doing a little whiskey tasting upstairs if anybody's passing on a Saturday afternoon. Come up past and we can get Mike's drams on the go and let you taste it. I can pour it in advance if you book it, so we can have them nicely opened and full of flavour for you. I'd be quite happy to do that.
Karen hasn't got the briefing that the Blether's not a sales pitch, but I love it.
I just think it's such a shame it's sat on the shelf and folk are kind of walking past it because it's not a recognised name. There we go back to names again. Folk are like, I didn't drink that. Ken.
When Holyrood came out, sorry, I had to go in my charger. We're still talking about your Holyrood, right?
Yeah.
So when Holyrood came out, it sold out instantly because I wanted to get a bottle from you. And
it's because it was an inaugural, the arrival.
That annoys me as well, because so people have just got this bottle of inaugural whiskey sitting on a shelf. Okay, now what? Great. Like, don't you want to maybe see what else they release? Because everything about Holyrood is the fact that they are, everything about Holyrood is the fact that they are, kind of.
Mike.
I know.
Your lighting is as bad as mine tonight. But like they famously play around with fermentations, they play around with yeast types, they play around with barley types. They're like a fun distillery. They're doing stuff that other people aren't doing.
The liquid is down about here on this one, so I could give you a sample of that.
It'd be good.
I think we should come. I think me and Karen are heading around to the shop on Saturday, Mike. We're just going to go and
I hope she is. She's working.
I'm working as well. Actually, I'm working on Saturday. I'll have to come after work.
I've got a couple of inaugurals, actually. I've got the Arnaho inaugural there as well.
I just love your windowsill. That's so funny.
Yeah.
It's just like, I love your little bit of your sitting there. It's just bottles all way.
Just a window shelf. That's all it is.
And people used to slag me for my whiskey display shelf, but actually, yours is just the windowsill. Whereas actually,
before every Blether, I go and swap around the bottle so it looks different. So
I thought I heard a lot of there.
Plus the fact we can't even see if there's whiskey in some of them, so they could just be your empties sat there. It could just be your recycling.
Probably is. I did do a call though.
He takes them off the shelf and brings them home.
I think that's empty.
It looks like the shelf at work just now.
It does. Both my Bunas are empty. My LaCroix's empty. Yeah. That's just a tube, isn't it? And not even a bottle in that.
That's the really bad thing. Right after this, a GlenDronach. Right after Christmas, we went out to the whiskey shed, and it's one of that kind of things that because it's there, you use it. And I've been taking in bits and pieces, but never realising what a tin in. Yeah, you get a few folk in, you have a few drams, and out after Christmas, and I was like, oh no, you know that way you lift them, you bottle kill. Oh, it was sad times, and I really do need to think about stocking up again. No good.
I know somebody who could help you out with that.
Do you know a man? Do you do home delivery?
I also, I could help you out with a really good quality Highland single malt also, you know, if you're looking for it.
Oh, well.
We were up on Saturday, Kat. We came up to visit your gaff.
I know you did, yes. I've got photographic evidence.
Oh yeah, I did. No. I said.
Yeah, you mean your little trip out to your mates?
Yes. Yeah.
Your little pals there. Oh.
I forgot to send you a photo of it.
You did send. You did send me a picture, and then Chris asked me to pick up his kids, but I was in Dundee, so I couldn't do it.
When I went with Mike's lot, you weren't there. You were skiving. I looked for her, but she wasn't even there. No. There was another wee whiny from the office. No cat. I said she doesn't even work there. It's just a ruse. Went behind a counter. Says no. She's our day off a day. I was like, well, typical. The day I come, she's new on the go. It's just sure as anything.
You should have pinged me a message. Let me
I
next time.
I even bought a really cool, the bonny purple mauve Tootie.
The maroon. They're nice, aren't they? They're really nice.
I've had it on every day, got the horses this week, and it's kept me cozy. So thank you very much.
Oh,
you've got your pin badge. Look at you. You're watching
It's my pin badge.
Yeah.
You still that bonnets in your shop and all, like Mike's got on. Did I see that?
We do. We've got it in our tweed. So Glengarry, Bamore, and Lefroy got their own tweeds. So it's Mike's got one actually.
Yeah,
it's really nice. It's quite smart.
They are really nice. We've got some cool stuff in.
You do. I did end up spending about 40 quid when I was waiting, to be fair. And that was without whiskey. It was just on all the chutneys and cheeses. Cheese is so good. Oh my God.
Cheese it's made in Campbellton. It's really, really good. And that chutney is just made up at in Huntly by Huntly Herbs. Anna and her dad. Like they grow all the veg at home. They are such fun. And she just does she, like everything. If you look at the ingredients in the back, she puts a wee asterisk next to stuff that they don't grow, and it's literally things like the oranges or like salt.
Just nothing fancy, but
everything else.
We came home that night and we had a cheese board that night for our supper. We a bottle of what did I open? Oh, the GlenDronach Tony Port. We had that in Billy did a while back, and we just sat, munched cheese and drank port, finished whiskey. It was a good night. Yum. It's a nice end to a nice weekend, that I tell you. But no, I'm coming back for Mary or cheese, definitely.
Cheese is great.
Ping me a message when you're heading over. Well, do you know what? You maybe know somebody that's got a discount, so just ping me a message.
You never bloody offer me a discount.
I give you freebies all the time.
Must be a woman thing.
Woman thing.
Must be a woman thing. They'll be talking about tampons next. Must be a woman thing.
No tampons.
Such a grandpa tonight.
I'm so glad you said that, not me. If I said that, I'd have been hung.
Oh, you'd be shot for it. Absolutely hung.
The fact you said it must be a woman thing was one step away from they'll be talking about tampons next. I've also noticed Jeremy's comment, so thank you for noticing, Jeremy, that I'm very on brand tonight. So behind me, he can see Glengarry and our Yamazaki. So,
oh yeah,
thanks
really
for noticing.
Bottles, that.
They're really
Have you seen Jeremy's next comment though?
We don't have branded tampons, no, but
it could be arranged. I've got a black biro at the back.
I was just thinking, I've got a Sharpie, so Sure we can figure something out. Oh, and Dave, you were at GlenAllachie a couple of weeks ago doing a tour, and I think you're with your granddaughter, and you got yourself a special bottle. So, yeah, I'm sorry I missed you, but I was on annual leave. I had to use it my holidays, so I was very luckily had 2 weeks off. But
I think you arranged bottle number 17 for him, didn't you? Off the back of a Blether, I think.
I think bottle number 17 happened to be available when Dave turned up on the day, because we can't save bottles for people, but I think it worked out really well for Dave.
You got lucky that day.
He did get lucky that day. Anyway, moving on. I'm glad you got your whiskey, Dave, and we'll catch you next time. But I saw you for your birthday bottle anyway, so I did that whiskey for you. So you've got some exciting things coming up this year at GlenAllachie. It's lots of fun things happening. And for anyone playing the GlenAllachie game, I hope you're sitting down, because we've had a lot of mentions there.
It was quite cool. I love the fact that you guys have got the wee bar now that you can just walk in and have we just sat down in the visitor centre. I think we had five whiskies. The favourite, I think, was the 17 Renaissance, but that new sherry cask handful it's good. It's nice. It
is really, really good. I'm not a big sherry head at all, and I'm trying to get into it because I think I probably was quite biased because I knew what I didn't like. And as soon as I heard sherry, your brain just goes, you don't like it that much. So I'm trying. Well, do you know what was, and I always use this as my lesson, when you did the blind, when you were choosing the shop exclusive, the one before your Holyrood, you'd taken all the blind samples, and Tony had given us all different numbers as well, so we couldn't even compare between each other what we thought they were, because none of us had the same number combination, if that makes sense. And the one that I thought was the best was a sherry Kalila, and I didn't even pick it out as sherry. Like, in my head, it was just nice because I couldn't, I had no preconceived bias about it. So ever since then, I'm trying really hard not to let my kind of, oh my God, that's dark, he said PX, I'm not going to like that. I'm trying not to let it affect how I view the whiskey, because I just don't have a sweet tooth. But yeah, the new sherry at GlenAllachie, I really, really like this one. It's just nicely balanced. So it's you can still taste that big heavy malty character, but it's fruity, and then that little bit of sweetness coming through. And I got to help create the tasting notes, so it's the first time I've ever done that.
Cool.
So it's
that's so much fun.
I know it was a lot of pressure as well, though, because when you're trying, because I feel like it should be easy. Because as soon as you try it, you think things, and then you start questioning yourself. You're like, oh wait, is that just too basic? Of course it's going to taste like fruit. But
every time. You
do, and then you're trying it more and more, and the more you try it, the less you're tasting it. So you've got to stop and then try again a different night. But what? So for both of you, what's your technique for that? Actually, tasting notes. How do you compile them? What's your process?
That's right, because I was going to ask you guys the same thing. So I
learned a trick. And I learned a trick, and I learned it accidentally. But what I found, and what I do all the time now, is I'll pour a little bit in a glass, nose it, try it, do my initial kind of thoughts, and then I empty the glass, leave it for a while, and then I go back to the empty glass and then nose the empty glass. I feel like you get a lot more just from the aromas from the empty glass. So I've started using that.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. It depends on what sample size you're working with. There's obviously that Holyrood. I got, it was tight, and then what I done after I tried it, I nipped up the road to Davis and said, I want you to give me a review of that tonight. I didn't tell him what it was or anything. I just said, go and give me a review of that tonight. So he sent me his review. But so you only get that small window. What I would like to say that I do for the GlenAllachie that we got when you were there, our shop, that was our first distillery shop exclusive that we done. Karen made sure we got quite healthy samples that we could work with. And me and Russell. And what I tried, we learned this on the Edinburgh Whisky Academy when we're down doing a diploma of nosing and tasting, is write down as quickly as you can everything that comes into your head. Don't think about it. Smell it, write it down. Taste it, write it down. Because I think as you progress, or as you try to get into whiskey, you try and think of the buzzwords that you should be tasting rather than what you're actually tasting. You think, this is sherry cask. I'm going to get Whereas if you do it blind and you write down, because this is, I mean, it's a big part of your nose is it smells memories first. And then your brain tells you can't be smelling that because that was 20 years ago. But if you try and get it out as quickly as you can, then you'll find yourself writing down some weird and wonderful stuff. And it's like, I try to say that in tasting, it's like, just say the first thing or think the first thing and hold that thought. Don't let your brain then say, you're spicking shite. You can't be doing that.
Didn't let it second guess it. Didn't let your brain second guess it. That's the worst thing you can do.
Even when your first thought is vanilla, like your brain says, "Oh, vanilla, yeah, well done, genius, of course, vanilla." That's not invalid because like you should be able to taste and smell vanilla because it should be in there as well. So even if you're starting with that and maybe just working down from it, like be like, okay, vanilla, of course, vanilla, and then you're kind of looking for the stuff other than that.
And you can start. The tasting wheels are quite good afterwards. I've never used it as an initial, although we kind of try and train people to use it initially as they find their feet because they give you ideas. So, but only work on the inner wheel because the inner wheel is like 5 very broad. It's like sweet, ethereal wood, smoke.
Grass. So I like.
So you're like, okay, I'm picking up a grassy kind of, and then you think, well, or fruits is one of the, or I think fruit is. And then you go, okay, so I'm picking up fruit. What kind of fruits? And then you can go to the next one. They're like, is it apples and pears and orchard fruits? Is it citrus fruits? Is it sweeties?
I like sweeties.
They're good as a guide, but I would only use that like either very early in your days of doing. I wouldn't use it for a tasting note, as in what I'm going to put in a bowl. I would use it like as a training guide, if that makes sense.
Definitely. I think it's good when you're starting out to get the kind of trigger words that folk would use or roughly what folk might be smelling or nosing. But I think when it comes to our stages in life, it's exactly what you said. Whatever hits your nose first, get that and write it down or remember it because that's exactly what you're nosing. Yeah. It's the same when you take your initial sip, your first sip. If you get burnt toffee or stewed fruits or whatever you're getting or treacle, I don't know what you're getting. But with sherry head here, you can see a lot of sherry terms coming through, but that's what you're getting. But didn't second guess it. The minute you start second guessing, that's when the mind and the palate didn't work together. And that's when you start bringing out some really weird weird things that you didn't want to. I wouldn't want to taste some of the half the stuff I've thought about in the past. I'm like, let's think about that again. And I'm like, oh no, but I don't like
how can I write this in a nice way that people would want to buy? Because you see, especially kind of things like Springbank, Campbelltown, or Isla, you get tasting of like burnt rubber or engine oil and all this kind of stuff. You're like, if I wrote that in the bottle, you would never.
Do you know one of the best tasting notes I ever heard, and it was somebody that I used to know, and they didn't really drink whiskey that much, but we'd gone to the grill, and they're like, "Oh, so choose something that I wouldn't have tried before." So we chose a Glen Scotia, and we had 2 different ones. I can't remember what they were. And when he tried it, he's like, "Oh, that one tastes like going to hospital. That one tastes like you've been committed to a mental hospital." And like I totally knew what he meant because it was like just that kind of like medicinal flavor, but like one was kind of like the core range, and one was like a sort of cask strength. And like, yeah, okay, like it's quite like medicinal note, and then this one's like a little bit extra. But like that's a complete like kind of newbie to whiskey, and that was our first thoughts. But like that's an awesome tasting note. But yeah, you wouldn't put that in the bottle. Like, yeah, this is like, oh, who have we got? Who's this?
Hello, Hank. Say hi. That's Hank.
Hello, Hank.
Hi,
the
Hank.
only dog ours without a whiskey name. So you've chose the wrong dog.
What are the rest called?
Well, is he not named after the Hanky Bannister blend? No.
Can I hear you for the dogs? Oi! Oi! Stop fighting. I knew this would happen. Dogs. Oh, here. Hank, down. Whiskey, where are you? Mike's on the phone. Here, whiskey. I'll find whiskey for you in a minute. No, I named all my dogs after whiskey. So we started with Copper. Then we've got Spirit. We've got Fino after the sherry cask. We've got Jigger. Oh, we've got a Tipsy. So yeah, the theme What else have we got?
Sweet.
Yeah.
What kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
dogs?
Here.
Is it
Here.
what?
Here's
Oh,
Tipsy.
Walkers and collies, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, and I met this scene. Well, no,
What
you
beauty.
did. You met this scene before she left, Mike.
Was I under the table with her in your shed?
Yes.
look
We
at her
kissed you on top of your
face.
head. This is
Who's this?
Tipsy. Hi, I'm
Oh, so pretty.
Tipsy. Tipsy, our kangaroo. It jumps the gate. It's a pain. Yeah, you're cute, aren't you? Yeah, we've got a bit of a menagerie. We've got 9 dogs in the house, which can be a bit like a Whiskey. Come here a minute.
Nine.
Whiskey.
Wow.
Whiskey.
Nuts. You imagine them in a shed during a tasting.
Are they all spaniels?
We've got spaniels, sprockers, and collies. We've got a
Oh,
wee mixture.
collies are the
Won't be
best.
long till you've got a couple of sprawlies in there as well.
We've got sprawlies. Where are they?
Have you?
Oh, here's Spirit. Here, look. Spirit, come here. Don't be shy. Spirit. Spirit. Here's Spirit.
Oh, look.
Hence the name Spirit.
Oh,
Pure white collie.
Right.
a
Yeah.
white collie. That's
It's the
White
only
unusual.
dog. Yeah.
That's a
Butternut.
great name. What a great name for him. That's very cool.
Spirit, it just brings the whiskey theme. So
Mhm.
Tipsy
Yeah.
went to home, but unfortunately the people couldn't look after her, so we had to bring her back. And it was called something like Oreo or Rolo or something stupid, and I was like, nah, it's Tipsy. Because after all the drink, you're a wee bit tipsy, so we're okay. Got
So
the
like
whole-
you tipsy.
Mike, do you ever
Yeah.
get that when you sell your pops and people tell you what the names are? Do you ever just think, no? Just
So yes, well, no. Sometimes we name them so that because our first litter we had red, blue, and whatever because it was named after the collars.
Callers.
We're like, yeah, because they were all. It was like photocopy. It was like they were all black, brown with a wee white blaze. So we had no way. If somebody came in and says, "I want that one," we would have had be like, "Yeah, this is definitely the one you picked." So we put colours on it, and they're red and yellow and pink and whatever.
Until the collars start falling off, and then you drink in fast.
And then you're like, "Oh my god!" Like we've got 2 left, and we would weigh them because we always we kept a weekly record, a 3-day record of what they weighed, so we could weigh them and say, "Right, that's definitely this one because it weighed so much." But then we started naming them. Like we had the second litter. I was actually doing a taste. I was doing a. It was a
Oh.
Blether or a tasting.
no, were we not at the golf club together? And the pups were happening? Or is that I was with you at a tasting at Inch Golf Club and one of the dogs was having pups.
That was
And
one
you
of
were
them.
coming up with updates every kind of, I don't know, half hour or something.
Yeah, that was one of them. But the other one I was here. We were doing a tomato tasting. I can't remember if it was a Blether or a virtual tasting. It was during lockdown. So I was doing a comparison between the GlenAllachie wine trilogy and the tomato wine trilogy. I remember that. And I started naming, as it came out, we started naming them after distillers, so that were whiskey people. So there was Charlie McLean, there was Billy, there was Rachel. We called Rachel's one Barry because it was a boy. We had all these names, just nicknames for us to kind of keep tabs on them. Charlie's still called Charlie. The owner liked that name and kept it.
Nobody kept Barry. Barry the dog's an excellent name.
I think that's a cool name.
I don't think Barry kept Barry. But our latest one, we named him after Marvel characters. So we had Loki and Groot and it wasn't Marvel. It was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So we had Quill and Groot and Drax and all this. And I think Groot still got his name and Quill still got his name. And there's another one still got his Rocket. Rocket still got his name.
I love it.
We used to name our dogs after the islands on the west coast. So there was Fingal, Jura.
Aw.
I mean, Egg's a horrible name for a dog. Kind of Egg.
Egg. No, nobody named their dog Egg, thankfully. It was more the pretty names they went for.
I mean, there's enough of them, isn't there? There's a couple of 100 islands out there, so you could.
There is. There's a lot of pretty island names in there. Alan Smith says his dog's called Rory. That's a good name for a dog.
I like that.
Yeah.
My last litter that I had was Whiskey, ended up being a daddy. But he wasn't old enough to breed with him, I think, and he ended up mating with one of my young well, she's about 3 or 4 years on with the collie. She's never showed interest in boys. That's why I bought the white collie, because I was going to have a relationship with them, and it didn't work. Either he's gay or she's lesbian. I wasn't quite sure. But it ends up that Whiskey and her, very randomly one day, I couldn't get them inside. I didn't know where the dogs were, so I looked out my living room window, and we've got the kids' big trampoline at the front, in the front garden at the kids' bit. And here's this collie and this young spaniel jumping up and down on the trampoline in sync. I'm thinking, this is ridiculous. Why are they on the trampoline? Little did I realise they were actually
They were locked, were they?
connected. Having
That
a lovely
sounds
time
like a fun
trampoline.
ride.
Like, oh my God. And I was trying to go to work, it's one of that kind of things, like, well, how do I get 2 dogs into the house off the trampoline? Oh, what?
Well, that's quite
But
dangerous because they
He
can
could have-
snap quite easily.
Worrying as well. But 9 weeks later, we got 12 puppies. So yeah, it was a bit strange. So they
Wow.
were on their alcohol as well, of course. We had lots of, there was gins and Baileys and rums and yeah.
We've talked about herpes and dog trampoline sex. That
Trampoline
is
sex with dogs.
that is
Who would have
We're
thought?
not actually going to get any better of Blether than this, are you?
Those trampolines.
2025 done. Just close the page. It's done. You're not going to get any better than this. I'm sorry. Not even on your Insta. Nah.
Yeah,
Dave's
we've
going.
started high.
We've lost Dave Ferguson. Good night, Dave. I hope
Oh,
it
nice.
wasn't the trampoline sex that was the end of it.
He's had 3 weeks off. That's amazing. Well, have a good first day back at work.
Oh no, he's going back to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Have you seen Mordecai's comment? It seems the conversation has gone to the dogs. What's that depressing breed? A melancholy.
Oh no.
I love it. I love a dad joke. I love a pun. Love it, Beb. Thank you so much for that. Ed Friday is doing a side-by-side comparison with our Octave cask and the Whiskies of Scotland, the one that Duncan Taylor released on their own website. So he has got so far the 2 Holyrood, while very similar, are surprisingly distinct.
Are they the same age? Is it
Exactly. Yeah, same sister casks.
okay.
And I think both are 3 months in Octave as well. Both excellent. Can't really decide which is the best. Biggest difference is on the nose. He's followed it up with the left one is more saline, the right is more toffee. Left is fruity on the nose, the right is drier and ashier.
Okay.
So the right is, I'm going to guess,
It's
more toffee and dry. I would say that's probably ours because I don't get much fruit on ours until it's a bit more open.
it is. He's left a
Which?
comment at the bottom there. Yeah, so he said left is Spirit Embassy, right is you guys. So you got it right.
Excellent.
There we go. Dave's away. Donna Pass. Hello, Donna. I did notice. I was going to say hello. I did notice you were on. You've been working a ton of overtime. It's his first day off since the 7th of December.
Oh no.
Oh no.
But you
Yeah,
don't feel
work-
sorry for him. He's got a bottle of Brookladdy 18 there, so
Oh.
He's coping.
he's coping. He's getting by. He's
Ah,
getting.
pure
You have to have yourself like a little kind of second Christmas. Book yourself some holidays and just have your own little kind of anti-Christmas
That'd be
and
good
enjoy
fun.
that
Your own-
overtime.
your own wee Hogmanay and everything. That'd be good fun.
Yeah.
And,
We'll have to find out what you work as. Maybe it's something really important. Maybe he's like a doctor and has worked his way through Christmas, healing people's.
Alcoholism. Purely.
I was so worried what was going to come out after that wee pause. You're like, is the doctor healing people's? And then there's a pause. I'm like, oh. I was thinking,
You never know.
Sometimes my brain does kick in and stops me.
I've seen you do that in the chat. You know what I say to me? You go, and then you go in there. I'm sat watching my phone creased. I'm like, she's wanted a cat. She was almost there.
yeah,
It's
almost.
quite funny.
Another
It's like,
drama we had. So
Does not
Alan's
work.
got a great name for your dog, Karen.
Yep.
Hank McWilliam.
Oh, here. It sounds like some sort of like cowboy film. Hank McWilliam.
Hank Williams was a country singer.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, bloody country
Oh.
music.
Here's Grand. That's feeling so good.
I
Hank William.
What I was trying to say when your dogs were barking was Hank not named after the blind Hanky Bannister?
Oh no.
Although
No, he was-
I think the dog on the trampoline should be called Hanky by the sounds of things.
Hanky Panky. Whiskey. And you're quite happy. You're sitting here. Come here, Whiskey. You come and say hi.
I think we need to have a Blether dog kind of like photograph as well for the. We've had a few dogs in the Blether over the year,
We have.
and we've had a cat. Dave Broom's cat made an appearance. I think it's.
Oh, did it?
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't think we've had any other cats on, other than me, obviously, which is
Cats normally just kind of prowl and then disappear because there's no food.
They're just like not interested. Your dogs
Yeah.
are very well behaved. They never annoy you through there, do you, Mike? Have you
I-
got
I-
them-
I'm upstairs and as far away from the dogs because they would. I've had a couple of tastings I had the dogs on when we do the events. I tend to be down. Well, more often now I'm upstairs away. Funnily enough, there's better signal up here, and Tony doesn't have to listen to me.
Yeah, Tony's like, thank God, shut him in the bedroom. It's fine.
My
You'll be right.
dulcet tones ringing through. We had some. I think it was Ed who was on our when you were at GlenAllachie. He was on that fabled tasting, and he said he's done a few tastings with you. He put a comment on a wee while ago. That's still my computer has got different colours on it to this day because of that tasting. You forced me into drinking. I can't remember, about 8 or 9 bottle kills.
8 or 9 bottle kills. Is this the one you fell asleep at?
Yes, yeah. That one.
That was amazing.
Even I know about this one.
Oh, it was so much fun. Honestly. And everybody was egging him on. It's such a shame. I was like, oh, there's not much of that. Go in there. Look, go and help yourself. I was like, oh well, I'll just say one more of the scene. In the next logo where nearly every bottle. I didn't mind it being up here in this room.
No, I was in the kitchen in that one. I was downstairs in that one.
I thought it looked different. But
Yeah.
I just remember him sitting there and then the
I
chocolate.
do, and I still have this fear of finishing a bottle that I know I'm never going to get again. That's probably why the survival was down to here and this been put aside. What else have I got? My whiskey of last year, even though I know I can get it because I've got about half a dozen in the shop. I've just left. And it's just like I'm never going to see that bottle again, and I'm just going to sit back and leave it. But you're not doing the whiskey any good, and I know that for a fact. So
Maybe
I'm
you
going to start
need to
collecting these guys and just fill them up.
make it into like an event. Do like a sort of, I don't know, like get all your mates around and do like a sort of end of bottle night. And
How
then
cool
because
would
you're
that
drinking,
be?
Well,
Yeah,
that's
because you're
probably
thinking
not
about
what we've done for that night, but I was
Okay,
the
right.
solo entertainer of the night. For the in the realms of professionality, if that's a word, we finished the official.
professionalism.
That's the one. We finished the official tasting. We stopped recording. This was kind of an after party when I went and gathered up the half-inch left bottles, and it was.
It was a good night.
It was an excellent night. I remember waking up and half the folk were still there, so just cracked on, started yapping again, and as if
Such a good laugh. Honestly. It was one of the best scenes. It was just one of that kind of unexpected ones.
yeah.
Everything was going so well, and then it went, wow.
That's always the best nights when it doesn't start out as something but becomes something else. Like they're the good
You have
ones.
that influence on people, Karen.
That's a good trait to have.
I'll take it. I'll take that in.
I've just quietly got into my or not so quietly
It
got
wasn't
into my.
very quiet. I could hear you creaking and crackling.
I thought it was the dogs on the floor. I thought it was their paws.
I thought there was them playing with something as well, and I realised it was cat trying to open a bottle
How much
discreetly.
bloody plastic? Honestly, I'm going to go through my whiskey collection and just open everything just to save the bloody drama. I'm going to open in honour of you, Karen.
Oh my
open.
God, you're getting to your Strathisla. Oh,
I know
amazing.
that's me done 2 drams tonight. Check, like, you are a bad influence. We'll do the.
I
wasn't much of a pop, but there we go.
You can still hear it pop. Or hear him
The
careless.
Strathisla ones are still cork, aren't they? It's the Chivas ones that are the screw cap.
The Chivas was a screw top, and I noticed David asked me about the Chivas Regal, and I never got a chance to reply to it. But like, that's beautiful in the Mizunara cask. It's like just big vanilla ice cream and like popcorn. And then this one's a cork top one. So
the Mizunara is dangerous though, because it's one of that ones that is that blooming smooth. You didn't realise you've drunk maybe
it's
2 or
so
3 more than
smooth.
you should have. It's really nice.
Yeah.
One of the lassies in the shop, she's not much of a whiskey drinker, nice lassie, but she says to folk, "Oh, you could just drink that on top of your ice cream. You can just imagine pouring it on as a sauce and just supping it up." You're like, okay, yeah. But I get the popcorn thing.
Yeah, 100%. It's vanilla.
Take my wee popcorn. It's a wee side dish.
Yeah. When I first tried it, when we were all chatting, it just reminded me when you open that kind of, like that really sweet, what do they call it? It's like butter kiss popcorn or something.
Butter kiss, yeah, the wee red packet.
Yeah,
so
that's
good.
what it reminded me of. Just it was yum, really nice.
Yeah, one of those ones though,
take it into the cinema, like # responsible drinking. But yeah, don't bother with popcorn. Just take a
just bring your hip flask.
It's a much better day out in the cinema. I think we've lost Mike again. I think he's frozen.
Look at his face.
He is frozen. So when I do the screenshot for the Instagram, this is going to be it. Oh no, he's back.
Yes, he's back.
You froze again, Mike. In a
What did I miss?
It was
yeah, you were doing quite an interesting. Your screen froze, and you looked quite interesting. So that's what my screenshot for the Instagram is going to be for when it goes up later.
It's very cute. It was like you're pouting. Very nice.
It was a bit Kim Kardashian.
Lovely. Awesome.
Kim Kardashian. Oh dear.
Is that you? Are we getting dram number? What are you on now, Mike? Is this dram number 3?
I'm going to pour this as an excellent.
It looks like a Chivas. It is a Chivas.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's a Chivas from the 70s.
I was thinking it's an all label.
Yeah, this is back in the days of fluid ounces and 75 proof.
Oh, that's smart though.
That's very cool.
I think we had we bought it off in a private collection, and I was just really, I'd gone through. Well, I'm also part of the City Whisky Club, which is a Glasgow-based whisky club. We met online and stuff, and Gary, who's the founder of that, was talking about really old blend and stuff that he picked up, and I was like, you know what, next really old blend I get my hands on the crack open and enjoy it. And 12 years, it's I've had a few grams out of it. Really nice. 75 proof, which would be, I mean, if you were going on accuracy, that would be 37.5% ABV.
Yeah, 37.5.
Which makes me wonder when the 40% rule, and if anyone knows, Jeremy, are you still watching? You'll know. That's the kind of thing you would know. If that's a new thing, or when was that brought in? Alan Smith is drinking. I'm going to get Loch Lomond Grain Mizunara. It's an LL.
I was trying to figure out what LL was without looking like an idiot, but that'll be what it is.
There's a lot of interesting trends out there tonight, isn't there?
Yeah.
We've got quite a discerning group of whiskey drinkers. They've got quite good bottles. I love the chat between them all because they're all. So the viewers call themselves the Blether, which I absolutely love. And they all kind of know each other and chat among each other and give each other bottle recommendations and stuff. So and checking on each other is really cool. I love the little community that watches. And a lot of them are actually people that have watched because of you, Karen. So some of your friends and fans are on, which is lovely to see too. It just shows that obviously you're very good at what you do because people obviously know you and have followed you from place to place, which is a good sign that you are very good at what you do. So you should definitely take that on board.
I'm sitting here writing checks out now for the post.
Do people even have checkbooks anymore? Can you even do anything with a bloody check?
Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's nice to know. I kind of see on here who's on. Usually on my phone, I'm like scrolling through, but here I kind of see.
Oh, of course, yeah. You can't. You won't be able to see the chat, but then if you watch it back, you'll be able to see it, won't you?
I will. I definitely will. That's good.
How do you feel about watching yourself back? Have you ever done anything where you've been like filmed or recorded for like visits and stuff?
I've done a few things over the years, and it's horrible.
Yeah,
I hate the sound of my voice. It's not nice.
I think that must be like an inherent thing we have in ourselves because I don't like hearing myself back either. And like whenever I get like sort of screenshot of like what we've done to put up on social media, I mute it and I just go by like whose like face looks like I'm trying to get Mike not blinking, me kind of like half smiling, and our guest looking really nice. So I'll just fast forward it.
Whenever we did it, when Russell was on, I always managed to catch Russell blinking, no matter how we did it. He's sitting in the corner like, everything looked like he was sleeping.
It's really difficult though, because I always want like the guests to look like, you know, they're having a nice time and like them to look good, and it's trying to get that moment where like me and you both look like twats. So like it's like really hard to get that like.
It's a very hard, you know. Try to find what maybe we could edit it so we've just got we can get one of you not looking like a twat, one of me, and then we can just drop it in.
Copy it.
A real,
Photoshop it in.
Tim has answered the question. 1988 Scotch Whisky Act is when the 40% law was put in.
Okay.
Which is quite cool because I would have been 5 then. So this bottle is at its youngest 5 years.
Oh God, I've been 8.
Mm-hmm.
When did you say 88?
1988.
Oh, I would have been 3.
So the chance of this bottled before any of us were born.
My God, that's weird, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. That's bottled history. That's very cool. When you think about it, the people who made that might not even be with us today. Like I know. I think that's amazing when you get like an old cask. Yeah. So I work with, when we released that cask we were speaking about, the sherry one, I was chatting to one of the production guys, and he wants to buy a bottle because he knows that he would have been, you know, working when that was distilled. How cool is that you can literally buy a bottle of something that you've created, and like, how old is the new release? It's like, I can't remember, 12 years later, like what you've created is like, you know, I know it's, and then when he thinks about what's happened in that 12-year period of his life, like whether it's marriage, whether it's children, whether it's, you know, global things, like that's amazing that you kind of distilled and bottled this kind of moment in history, which I absolutely love about whiskey. It's very, very cool.
Kind of cool. It's one of that kind of things that if you think like the year that you started at Glengarry and there's stuff going at the cask back then, and when you're in GlenAllachie, you might be thinking, oh God, I remember that day. I actually was there when they put that in the warehouse, and it's a really nice moment.
You're right, because I see some distilleries doing it, like new distilleries, when they have members of staff starting, they get their members of staff to sign a cask so that as they go through their career, if that cask's ever released, they know that that was on the day that they, or like the month that they started. I think that's such a cool thing, because working in whiskey is all about waiting. But again, like, you look at it at moments in time, it's fantastic when you see what's passed between starting and what's being released, and especially for like the Glengarry, obviously with the refurbishment and stuff. It's really cool to see the journey it's going through as well, and what's going to happen with it, and to be there at the start and then be there at the. Wait, go on.
What excited me about the new make tasting that we had as part of the Whisky Academy is that development that's been put in place.
Yeah.
It's really quite exciting, and then you get to that stage where like this is how we've developed the new make spirit, and you're like, this is incredible, but we don't know, and it's that waiting game for you guys and it obviously it'll be monitored, probably first tasted at maybe 3 years old and then 5 years or however long. But it's just really interesting to see. It's just that waiting game. It's like the longest game of traitors in the world. At least you're like waiting for years, not a week.
It's just that
I know, that's it.
2 minutes. I'm going to open the door.
It is. It's like
2 minutes.
Oh, okay. We all want to go out for a pee.
And Karen needs to go for a pee now.
Oh my goodness.
Well, we've reached the 2 hour point, so I think everyone's going to need a pee break, to be honest. Although
I haven't until
Rachel always used to go for a pee break, but I don't think you've ever disappeared for a pee break. Not that we need to talk about your bladder habits, but maybe you've got further to go. No, your toilet's upstairs. I've been to your toilet before.
Yeah, right next door. I'm good. I think the safety net of having it there helps me. If it was the other end of the house, I'd probably need to go more often.
Our guest has gone, and we've gone to talking about peeing.
Yeah. This chat's gone pish.
I see what you did there.
We'll wait till Karen comes back before we say cheerio. But
Yes.
guys,
What a noise.
Ed, I wish I had a bottle under the table. Sometimes. It's all the empty bottles Mike has. Yeah. There's a recurring theme amongst the guys at home who think I just tinkle under the table while talking to you again. The thing is, it would sometimes it's crossed my mind. Don't get me wrong. I would always be worried that I'd just nonchalantly put it back on the shelf and forget. So,
Plus, we would hear you. You heard me trying to secretly get into a bottle of whiskey. We would definitely hear you peeing.
Oh.
Maybe just wait until you are getting into a bottle of whiskey and then nobody hears me.
Could you imagine that if you poured it for somebody and gave them, like, oh, this doesn't taste good, Mike. It's a bit pale. No.
Tastes like piss. Yeah. Well,
I was going to say that, but I thought I better behave.
Getting black currants and herpes.
That's terrible.
Literally.
And on that note,
let's so quick predictions. The start of the year, who you're looking for distillery in 2025?
So based off today, I'm most excited about Tyree, because Tyree have just launched their inaugural whiskey today, and I think that is such a milestone for the island, for the history of whiskey making, for like the brand. I couldn't get a bottle today. They sold out in like 19 seconds or something, but I'm very excited about seeing what Tyree are up to. I think it's fun to watch.
Karen?
If you can hear me through dogs barking. I think the most exciting Ian for me who spoke about earlier was to see Alan Finlay's distillery up and running.
Yeah.
Not his personal distillery, but where he's managing. And to follow the Cabrach distillery a wee bit closer. That'd be quite nice as well, because I think that's kind of cool what they've done with the place, and there's a lot of history behind that that's in here with me. So it's quite nice. But yeah, there's a couple of things.
Ewan's a very clever young man as well. He's going to be doing some exciting things up there. He's definitely one to watch.
I think so. No, I think that's definitely. What about you, Mike? What's your kind of idea?
Well, the Cabrach was going to be the one for me, was the looking out to see what they're doing. Obviously, they've started filling, but also up at Rock Rose, they've done at Bay Distillers. There's a lot of work going on at their distillery. and they're planning. They're hoping to have Spirit running this year as well.
That's
So
cool.
that's 3 new distilleries that I think should do well. There's a lot of negativity, a little bit of doom and gloom and overproduction kind of vibes going on just now. But hopefully the new guys haven't been disheartened by it, I think, and power through. Because, like I say, there's enough there for everyone. And
I think so.
If we are going through a depression in whiskey, then there's a lot of guys sitting there on distilleries that haven't got whiskey out there yet that are up to spec. So let's hope it doesn't happen. So that'll be my hope for New Year, is that every one of them comes to fruition. And,
Definitely. I will agree with that 100%. Good luck to them all. Definitely.
Exactly.
Karen, it's been an absolute blast.
It's been
To the guys at home, thank you for sticking with us. Apologies for some of the chat, and you're privileged to listen to some of the other chat. It's been great fun.
Well,
And what way to start the new year. Kat, I'm not going to ask you who's next week because I know it hasn't been quite confirmed, but I think I know who it is, and we will let you all know as soon as we know. It could be just as much fun, full of geekery.
That's anything I know.
By quite possibly the best independent bottler in Scotland. So, and who knows, maybe some merch.
Yay.
Hopefully. And get on and follow the Instagrams, everyone. Whoever's left, go on and
Even
find our
if I have
Instagram.
to write Blether along here, that's going to be the merch for next week.
Yep. This is the 2025 is the year of the Blether, so it's merch, it's Instagrams, it's big guests. So get on board, everyone.
Cheers, guys.
100%. Cheers.
Bye. Take care. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll maybe see you in an hour on the next Dramface. No, Aquavite. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.